The following is a Neighborhood Network sports special.
Welcome to Macarthur Stadium, and this is it, the final crack at Big Mac as the Syracuse Chiefs entertain the Pawtucket Red Sox. We are coming to you live today from Macarthur Stadium in Syracuse, New York, where history will be made. A lot of people thought this day might never come, but it is here, the last crack at Macarthur Stadium. Along with former Syracuse Chief pitcher Steve Grilli, I'm Ted DeLuca. And Steve, did you ever think the day would finally arrive when Macarthur Stadium would play one final ball game before the wrecking ball hits?
It's a long time coming. We got delayed 1 year, but through the efforts, Tex Simone's got a lot of credit's got to be given to him to get that stadium. It's going to be wonderful to look over our shoulder here and see the new one going up. So a lot of excitement in the future for us.
A very bittersweet day because the brand new ballpark is under construction. The place where the Syracuse Chiefs will begin play in 1997. And Steve, as a former Chief in the years 1977 through 81, you must have a lot of fond memories of good old Big Mac.
Well, a lot of people ask me for one memory, and I can't. I think you put it very well. There's a lot of memories here. My first time in here was in '72 as a Toledo Mud Hen. I was pitching. I proved to Johnny that day. We got fogged out in the fifth inning. We couldn't see the center fielder. My son has pitched here. We made a run for the Governor's Cup. My biggest thrill for myself was people were chanting my name back in 1979 when we were running for the Governor's Cup. So a lot of good things are going on. Made a lot of good friends, and that's why I live here now.
This old ballpark has a lot of beautiful memories for a lot of people, thousands of Central New Yorkers through the year, and 3,000 of them obtained this T-shirt, a commemorative edition, The Last Crack at Big Mac, here on September 2nd, 1996, sure to become a collector's item as the years go by. Joining us throughout today's broadcast, Dave Ryan. We'll check in with Dave right now from the brand new place going up right across the street where the Chiefs will begin play in 97. Dave, take it away.
All right, Ted and Steve, thanks very much. You know, Labor Day is upon us. That means the workers taking the day off, and it gives us a perfect opportunity to give you a tour of the brand new stadium. It's designed by HOK Enterprises, the same folks that put together the Camden Yards down in Baltimore, did such a great job with that. It cost $35 million to put the stadium together over a year and a half. Compare that to the old ballpark, which was, believe it or not, $300,000 over 48 days back in 1934. Here's a chance for a tour. Behind home plate, they're going to have 3 levels, including 20 skyboxes. Below that, a press box, and then right below that, an open picnic area, concourse, where fans can actually watch the game while they get some of the treats, their hot dogs and hamburgers and things like that. They also can see now is all kinds of stands being put together over there where about 10,000 people will be watching the games and coming up in the next couple of years. Certainly everyone very excited about that. And a brand new restaurant also is going to be put in. You're going to need reservations ahead of time for the opening of the 96 season. Let's go back now over to the old stadium where Sammy Award winner Joe Whiting is singing our national anthem.
O'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome back to Macarthur Stadium, getting set for the first pitch of the last crack at Big Mac, the last game ever at Macarthur Stadium, where the Syracuse Chiefs will host the Pawtucket Red Sox today. An overflow crowd is making its way into Macarthur Stadium. Syracuse Chiefs Assistant General Manager John Simone told us just a little while ago that the cars were still coming in, and there was a chance that the Chiefs may break their all-time attendance record today. Here's the Pawtucket batting order. Alex Cole leads off in center field. Rodriguez at short, Selby at second. Clark the DH, Zinter at first. Malave in right. Scott Hatterberg behind the plate. Zambrano in left field, and Lou Merloni bats ninth and plays third base. And the Chiefs defense, Ricky Cradle in left, Stewart in center, Pose in right, Winky at third, Cairo at short, Crespo at second, Ramus at first, Andujar on the mound, and Rich Rowland behind the plate. And the first pitch of the ball game is skied to left field by Alex Cole, and Ricky Cradle settles under it for out number one.
Well, that was quick. First pitch, 1 out. Waited a long time for this last game. It's one of those games where you hope it's not a quick game. I know a lot of people, they come out here, it looks like such a festive occasion this afternoon. We got beautiful weather, a lot of dignitaries on hand. It was wonderful to be down there, and just a great happening. Just a great happening.
You want to talk about quick? We had to fly up the stairs to make it up to the press box for the first pitch, which we did successfully. Fastball high from Andujar. Tony Rodriguez steps in. The Pawtucket shortstop at .246 on the season, 3 home runs, 27 runs batted in, and Andujar's second offering is inside. 2 balls, no strikes. There's a line drive deep to left center field. Cradle is backing up, and he makes the catch over his left shoulder. So 2 quick chances for Ricky Cradle in left field, and 2 out.
Well, Ricky Cradle getting off to fine defensive starts. He got the first out right there, a nice running play. He's showing he can field as well as hit. Last night he tied a record, hit 3 home runs in 1 game. Although only 5 other Chiefs have done that. But Cradle leaving his mark here at Macarthur Stadium.
That'll bring Bill Selby to the plate. Andujar offers his first pitch a bit outside. Selby, one of the many Pawtucket players to spend some time in the major leagues with the Boston Red Sox this season. Andujar's second pitch is low, so early on, Andujar has worked successfully from behind in the count. 2 balls, no strikes. Andujar's fastball misses just a bit outside, and it's 3-0 to Selby. Steve, Louis Andujar can throw the ball very hard. He's got some good pop today. Selby jacks one deep to right field, and that ball is out of here.
Well, he throws real hard. Unfortunately, he got that one in the power zone for Selby, and Selby sent it over the old clubhouse there. He got all of it. The only thing you had to question whether it was going to be fair or foul. First base umpire points emphatically fair ball, and it's a 1-0 ball game here in the top of the first inning. And here it is. Fastball right down the middle. Couldn't ask for a better pitch to hit. The way Selby's power is right on the inner part of the plate. So quickly, 2 are out. And Selby with a 1-run home run here in the first.
Selby's 11th home run of the season. Phil Clark steps in, and he has been murdering the ball this season for Pawtucket. And he takes a strike right on the inside corner from Louis Andujar.
Looked like Andujar took a little bit something off of that pitch. He's a fast worker. He gets the ball. He's out of the school of Pittsburgh Pirates batting coaches. He hits a ground ball to third.
Nice diving play. Here comes the throw over to first, and it's in time for out number 3. Terrific defensive play made down there at third base by Chris Winky. He's played some time at first, gets the start at third in today's ball game. So Andujar is out of the inning with some help from Chris Winky.
Here's a nice play. Winky, a first baseman, but he plays the corner just like a first baseman right there. He dives, comes up, shows a good strong arm. And Winky has been asked by the Toronto Blue Jays, Ted, to go to instructional ball. They want to make him into a catcher, so he's going to go down there and put on the tools for behind the plate, and hopefully next year come back as a catcher.
And here's how the Syracuse Chiefs line up today for manager Richie Hebner. Shannon Stewart leads off in center field. Scott Pose at second. He's in right. Felipe Crespo bats third at second base this afternoon. Felix Jose, the DH. John Ramos at first. Chris Winky at third base hitting sixth. Miguel Cairo will hit his seventh. He is the shortstop. Ricky Cradle in left field. 3 home runs last night, batting eighth. And Rich Rowland will bat ninth and catch Louis Andujar in today's last crack at Big Mac. Zambrano, Cole, and Malave, the outfield left to right. Merloni at third, Rodriguez at short, Selby at second, Zinter at first, Scott Hatterberg behind the plate, and on the mound for Pawtucket, Jeff Pierce.
Well, There's a lot going on here today. It is the final game. We do have a game. I don't think it's as important as what's going on here today, Ted. We've got a lot of special guests that are going to be joining us up in the booth. And as we go along, some of them you'll remember from just the recent past, some of them from way back. But we have a real distinguished crowd of people coming and joining us this afternoon.
Should be a lot of fun for us up here in the booth, and hope you're enjoying the broadcast from the comfort of your couch, perhaps, or the deck on this Labor Day. And as you take a look around the stands here at Macarthur Stadium, a huge crowd on hand for the last crack at Big Mac. Upwards of 10,000 fans. They had to open up the bleachers beyond third base down the left field line to accommodate the overflow crowd. And let's see if the Tribe can give the fans a win on this last game ever at Big Mac today.
Couldn't ask for a better afternoon for a ball game. The weather is just near perfect. Slight breeze blowing, hovering in the low 80-degree mark. But a great afternoon here.
Shannon Stewart will lead things off. 298 on the season, just a shade below 300. 6 home runs, 41 runs batted in. And Pierce's first pitch of the day is outside for ball one. He misses with the slider. Shannon Stewart, outstanding defensive player, and has really increased his stolen bases as the season's gone along. He pops one up over first base way, and the call is made by Zinter. He makes the catch for out number one.
Seems like a lot of the players are swinging at that first pitch.
Scott Pose comes to the plate. 273 on the season. He is yet to hit a home run. 39 runs knocked in. Really the Chiefs' emotional leader on the field. He hustles, gets his uniform dirty every day. And he's really one of those players who sets the tone for Richie Hebner's club. First pitch swinging. He lofts it high but shallow into center field. And Alex Cole settles under it for out number two. And you're right, Steve. These Chiefs aren't wasting any time. It's swinging from the pitches offered by Jeff Pierce.
Well, a lot of time in these situations, a lot of these fellas have their cars packed, loaded down, ready to head back to their hometowns. One thing I will say, they're anxious to get home, but I guarantee within a week or two, they wish they were playing ball again. Season is a long one, and it's winding down here today, but you're going to see a lot of players swinging at the first pitch.
Felipe Crespo steps in, and he takes a strike on the outside corner from Jeff Pierce. Crespo has had a nice season here at Syracuse. He's bounced around the infield, seems to have settled in at second base. The 0-1 from Pierce, and Crespo fouls it off way back into the stands along the third base line here at Big Mac. If you're just joining us, this is the last crack at Big Mac. Bottom of the first inning, Chiefs down 1-0 as Bill Selby cranked a solo home run at the top of the first inning. Ball bounces off the plate. Easy play for Pierce as he goes to Zinter at first, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Pawtucket starter Jeff Pierce.
And we're going to go down to Dave Ryan behind home plate. He's got a wandering microphone, and he's going to interview somebody down there. Rhino?
All right, guys, thanks a lot. We're with Don Waffle, who's been the Chiefs team president since 1971. Don, did you ever think this day would come, the end of an era? 63 years of baseball history here on the north side of Syracuse.
No, I guess I didn't really think it would. Although in recent years, when we realized what was happening here at the park physically and what was happening in organized baseball, it began to dawn on us that, yeah, if we wanted to keep involved in this baseball at this level, we're going to have to do something about it. So it came upon us little by little, and here it is.
Don, what's the feeling like? Nostalgia, sadness, excitement with a new ballpark getting underway right across the street?
It's all of that. It's nothing original, say bittersweet or that sort of thing. But I was thinking earlier about when we closed up Archbold Stadium up there, and we saw that last game, and said, oh, that'll be the end of it. And then you open up the Carrier Dome and that beautiful edifice. You say, hey, it was worth it. That's what we're going to have here. I've been on the inside of this new one, and you won't believe it until you see it. So that you can have the sadness today, but it'll all disappear when you see that new one. It's just a superb piece of work, and we're going to be very, very proud of it, and we'll build a whole new set of memories over there.
Congratulations on a great era of baseball here in Syracuse. Good luck with the new stadium.
Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun. It still is, and there's going to be more. And it's young people your age are going to build the treasures and memories over there. And we've had our turn. Now it's yours.
Okay, enjoy the rest of the game, guys. Go back to you down in the press box. Go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Dave. And Don Waffle is certainly a fixture here at Macarthur Stadium. Year after year after year, we'll see him across the street next season. Zinter swings at the first pitch from Andujar. It's popped foul behind the plate. Easy play for Rich Rowland. And one down in the top of the second inning as Rowland makes the play.
Well, if Rowland heard us say that, he wouldn't think it was quite that easy. He was staring right into the sun. You saw him struggling a little bit with it, and it's a high sky today, as they say, a bright sun, and it's pretty bright out. When you turn around like that, you got to look right into the sun. One thing I want to mention about Don Waffle, the president, he's been president here since I remember, since I came on board with the Chiefs, and he's great. I'll tell you why he's great. You always see him with a camera. And he's always got his camera on him. He's always taking pictures of the players that come through here. So it's not only a job for him. I think he has a lot of fun in what he's doing.
Louis Andujar will be the answer to the trivia question down the road as to who pitched the final game at Macarthur Stadium, who made the start for the Chiefs.
Scotty, thank you for
Jose Malave stands in, and he is down on the count, no ball, 2 strikes.
Well, you're right about that. There's going to be a lot of who hit the last home run. Who was the manager for the Chiefs last game? A lot of trivia questions are going to come about after this game.
Andujar gets Malave swinging, and he has quite a pop in the fastball today, Steve.
He does. He's got a great body for a pitcher. Kind of has a Bob Gibson follow-through. He really comes through and falls off at third base. Shows you he throws with all of his body. Doesn't put a lot of strain on his arm. Takes it off with his body. And that was a good shot of him falling off towards the first base side.
Nice movement on the fastball today for Andujar, and he throws a quick strike to Scott Hatteberg, the Pawtucket catcher.
If he gets that over, he's going to be very effective. A changeup, and he starts him off with the changeup. Hatteberg probably looking for that good heat. There it is.
Misses high and outside to even the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Andujar came over to the Chiefs following a late season trade between Toronto and the Chicago White Sox. Andujar did pitch for the White Sox in the major leagues earlier this season, and he gets Hatteberg swinging at strike 2 there. He is really throwing hard, and he's working quickly as well.
Very quickly, and right there you can see it went right by him. He wasn't even close to that one, so Andujar overpowering today.
Crowd looking for the strikeout, and Andujar misses just a bit high, and the count is even at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Here's a good situation where you pull the string on a changer because you're looking for that good heat.
Andujar misses away. Full count. Hatteberg also spent some time in the majors with the Red Sox earlier this season. Pawtucket has clinched first place in the IL East. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Andujar strikes out Malave and Hatteberg to end the top of the second inning. So Louis Andujar has his heater working today.
We have not seen him throw a breaking ball. He's thrown nothing but heat and a changeup. So.
And let's send it down to field level again and rejoin Dave Ryan.
All right, Ted, thanks a lot. Great seats right behind home plate as the Chiefs down at Pawtucket by a run. We're joined by Ron Gersbacher. He is the team historian. Ron, you were telling me a moment ago as we were waiting for the interview, you've been a pretty busy guy over the last couple of months. Everyone wanted to get a piece of nostalgia as we head down the stretch run of Big Mac.
I think everybody's been looking back, especially with the building of the new stadium. You know, you could go over there and take a look exactly to see what you're going to get. And everybody kind of has gone back and thought, gee, even I did. When it was my first game of coming to Big Mac, I remember I was 10 years old and I thought, my God, this is the biggest stadium I've ever seen. And I think everybody has their special moments. A lot of people have been writing to us, calling us in, telling theirs. So we've been trying to piece the history together.
What has your role been like trying to get it all together in, I guess, pretty easy for folks to understand and be able to see it all?
Well, you know, my job goes back. We've been trying to research the history of baseball going back into the 1830s. So we're in the process of putting a whole story together. It's going to end with the culmination of the opening day in a new stadium.
And you said yourself you've seen hundreds of games here. Any special memories you're going to go away with?
Well, I guess everybody looks back to the youth. I guess I'm no exception to that. And the great Detroit Tigers here, you know, that we had back in the 60s. Mac Jones, probably the greatest player I've ever seen as a Chief. Then, you know, through the Blue Jay years with the Sean Greens, Robert Perez's, Carlos Delgado's, the balls that have flown over the Blue Monster in center field, Frank Breaker's spectacular home run in 1969. There's been hundreds of moments, but I think everyone has their special moment.
Last question for you, Ron. Your feeling today, what's the emotion like?
Well, everybody thought this was going to be a real down day. For me as an historian, this is a real special, this is a beginning, not an ending. Here we are with this game. It's not a closure, it's an opening to further years in Syracuse, and Syracuse baseball is going to go now to a different level.
All right, Ron, thanks a lot for joining us.
Dave.
Enjoy the rest of the game.
All right, take care.
Ron Gersbacher is the team historian. Ted and Steve, back up to you guys in the press box.
Thanks a lot, Dave. And when anybody has any questions about the Syracuse Chiefs, they always go to Ron Gersbacher. And Louis Andujar, that man sitting in the Syracuse Chiefs dugout, Steve, has really been on early in this ball game.
Well, he's overpowering, and I think the crowd is helping him a little bit. You can't help but be a little pumped up with this crowd on hand. I'd have to say we're going to be between 10 and 12,000 here today.
Felix Jose steps in to start the bottom of the second inning against Jeff Pierce, and he takes ball one outside. Jose at .259 on the season with Syracuse, 16 home runs, 61 runs batted in. And Felix lofts one high into short left field, making the call in short left is Rodriguez, and Tony hauls it in for out number one.
I do have to comment on Ron Gersbacher. I don't think anybody could have put it any better, and I think most of the sentiments are with him, saying it isn't a closure, it's a beginning for a new era of baseball here in Syracuse. For a while there, we thought we were going to lose it. We weren't going to have baseball here. But through the efforts, again, Tex Simone and a lot of people in this community, baseball is here, and it's going to be here for a long time with that new stadium going up.
And we hear that the new ballpark will be simply awe-inspiring in 1997. Ramos grounds one to the shortstop Rodriguez. He fires over to Zinter at first for out number two in the bottom of the second.
Have you had a chance to go over there yet, Ted, and view any part of that?
I've taken a look at the outside of the stadium. I've walked around, but I've yet to go inside where the actual field is going to be. But one thing that I have noticed is that every time you come out here and take a look at the new ballpark, you notice something new being built. It's an amazing structure.
I was in one of the dugouts this morning, and it was a great feeling. I think as a fan, as a player, it's going to be so much more to look forward to.
Nice stop at first base by Zinter, and he will make the play himself off the ground ball hit by Chris Wenke. And once again, the Chiefs go down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the second inning.
Who was the Chiefs' opponent in the very first
The Chiefs are down 1-0 after 2 innings of play at Macarthur Stadium. And let's rejoin Dave Ryan downstairs. Dave.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Victor Remy joins us here, and you were at one of the opening games ever back in 1934, the first game ever at the old stadium. Now you're seeing the last. What are the emotions like today for you?
I quite hear you said that.
What are the emotions like for you today, just seeing the last game ever?
Quite emotional, seeing all these park going. But the first day was great because you see people you never seen before, and you got after a while you got to know half of the people there. It was quite exciting. The crowds are all getting different. They're more noisy, and we used to heckle the rival coaches on third base there. We had a third base gang there. We called ourselves a third base gang, and we were heckling all the players and everybody else there. Today it's all got a different.
As a fan who saw the first game ever, you've seen so many games here at Big Mac over the years. What's your top memory? Is there one thing you look back to at Macarthur Stadium after all these years?
One of my top memories here would be the 18-inning game against the Newark Bears, where Jack Haley pitched 17 innings out of 18 innings, and Ted Kleinhans pitched for Syracuse there. We were here after midnight, and for a pitcher to go ahead and pitch 17 innings, today they don't go over 5-6 innings.
All right, thanks very much, Roy. And we see you have a ball, one of the balls you threw out there, huh?
Yeah.
Was it a strike?
No, I threw it a little bit in the dirt. My shoulder tightened up again. After all, 84 years old, I guess my arm is kind of gone.
Victor Remy, thanks very much for joining us. Guys, let's go back to you, one of the original Big Mac fans here at Macarthur Stadium today.
Well, that was real interesting. It's funny how the game has changed, Ted. He talked about a game that he saw, one of the most memorable ones. A pitcher went 17 innings. You would never see that today. Everybody's on a clicker and looking at pitch counts and things like that. But back in the old days, it was strap them on and let's play a game of hardball here.
That's true. Those days are long gone. You'd see some really outlandish box scores from those days. A guy would pitch 17, 18 innings, and to make matters worse, Steve, he wouldn't get the decision. He'd do all that work for nothing.
The specialist, relief pitching, long middle relief, set-up men now. The game has changed.
And the guys in the bullpen during that era were guys that weren't considered closers or stoppers. They were guys that the managers didn't have enough faith in to start.
Absolutely. Now the closer on a team, it's one of the commodities all teams are looking for, is a good hard throw to come in and finish a game.
Eddie Zambrano pops it up. Let's see if Winky has a play. He settles under it, and he makes the catch about 10 feet away from the Pawtucket dugout for out number 1.
He was looking to roll in the catcher. He didn't know if he was going to get any help. A lot of times you look to see if the guy that should catch it, which was Winky in that situation, sees it because of the sun. So it's going to be a tough one for high infield flies today with that sun. And Andujar continues to work fast. He's throwing strikes. Most of the hitters again swinging at that first pitch.
And you can hear Rich Rowland's glove pop behind home plate. That's how fast and how hard Andujar is pitching this afternoon. Merlone gets decent wood on it, sends it to straightaway center field, but Shannon Stewart makes the grab because, as we know, at 434 feet, the second deepest center field in all of professional baseball, and only 8 guys, Steve, have belted a home run over the Blue Monster in straightaway center.
There it is, good moving fastball, kind of tailed in on him a little bit, didn't get the good part of the bat on the ball, still sent it fairly deep to center field, considering, like Ted, you just pointed out, 434 feet. It's a straightaway center.
Alex Cole steps in. He flied out to left his first trip. And Cole swings and misses to even the count. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You can see he was a little out in front of that one, and he's expecting that good hard heat. I'd have to say he's throwing about 94, 95 miles an hour on a jugs gun when he's getting it up there.
I would agree with that. He is really throwing hard, and as we said earlier, he is a major league prospect, no doubt about it. A little bit surprising that the White Sox let him go because he does have good pop on the fastball. That's a base hit for Cole into right center field, and Alex Cole with good wheels may try a triple. He rounds second, and he will head into third base standing with a 3-bagger. Alex Cole drove that ball into the right center field gap, didn't stop. He just kept going and going and wheels into third with a 2-out triple. And let's see what Tony Rodriguez can do with another run, potentially standing at third base for Pawtucket.
Well, you know, what you're going to miss here at Big Mac is the excitement of the inside the park home run. I mean, there's a good chance of that with the deep center field. Good friend of mine who was here this afternoon, Butch Alberts, one of the last players to hit an inside the park from my memory. I mean, there's been a lot going on here for the years, but Butch Alberts, good friend of mine, he hit an inside the park home run. With the new dimensions, I don't think it'll be as likely. It's a breaking ball that we haven't seen too much of from Andujar this afternoon.
Tony Rodriguez swings and misses. He's 0 for 1 on the day. Flied out to Ricky Cradle and left his first trip as well. Counter to short. Should be an easy play for the Tribe. Cairo is up with it, and he makes the play over to first base for out number 3. So Andujar works himself out of a jam after Cole's 2-out triple. He is stranded at third, and after 2.5, the Chiefs still trail 1-0. Let's go back downstairs and rejoin Dave Ryan.
Ted, thanks a lot. We're right here below the stands, obviously, and right behind home plate. And Joe Godley is selling some peanuts. He's selling beer. He's been one of the concession guys here for years and years. Hey, can I get some peanuts, please?
Yes, you can.
2 bags. How much?
$3.50.
On the house, right?
No, not right now.
Now, Joe, how long have you been a concession guy here? You've been selling things for years and years.
Good 20.
Tell us about a top memory for you.
Probably when the Yankees were here as a farm team and Reggie Jackson and all them came in. You know, you're talking about Munson, Roy White. You know, that was probably my greatest time.
You sad to see the old ballpark go, or are you glad and excited about the new one?
It's always good when you get something new.
Now give us, just belt out one good cheer, one good popcorn, peanuts, whatever you have. Your normal shtick there. Go right ahead.
Ice cold beer and peanuts.
Great job, Joe. Thanks a lot. Ted, back to you guys upstairs.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Joe Godley is a familiar face at all the major sporting events here in Syracuse, whether it's Macarthur Stadium or the Carrier Dome. And Alex Cole really drilled one his last trip to the plate, Steve, but unfortunately for Pawtucket, he's left stranded at third.
Good low outside pitch. Cole went down and got it. It was a good piece of hitting. Got in the gap. It's a little dry out there. The ball's rolling a lot quicker than it would with normal grass out there. Gets the ball in there quickly. I thought for a second we might see an inside the park home run attempt, but he stops at third, and he was stranded there.
Cole patrolling center field for Pawtucket this afternoon. The former major leaguer with the Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins definitely has the speed to go for that inside the park home run, but the ball just didn't roll around quite enough for him, so he is left stranded at third base. And the Chiefs come to the plate in the bottom of the third inning. Miguel Cairo leads things off. 278 on the season, 3 home runs, 47 runs batted in. And Jeff Pierce gets his first pitch in there for strike one. And Cairo takes strike 2 on the outside corner. This is a perfect day for baseball at Macarthur Stadium. Temperatures in the mid-80s. The flags are blowing toward right field. A slight breeze blowing around toward right. That may have helped. Cole's a triple in the top half of this inning. The 0-2 to Cairo. He swings and misses, and it's strike 3. So Cairo fans to lead off the bottom of the third inning.
Well, one thing that's going to be impressive in that new stadium, Ted, is the press box. And
now you're talking my language.
There we go. This has served its purpose well, but when we take a look at that new press box over there, I think the whole media is going to be extremely happy with that new ballpark.
Ricky Cradle stands in, takes ball 1 inside. Cradle on the season, batting just 190, 8 home runs since joining the Chiefs midway through the season, 3 of them coming last night. Cradle swings and misses to even the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Cradle, along with catcher Julio Mascara, called up mid-season from AA Knoxville. Mascara is now with the Toronto Blue Jays because injury problems have hurt the Jays behind the plate. Mascara called up to catch for Toronto. Ricky Cradle still down here in Syracuse, still trying to learn how to hit AAA pitching, Steve.
Well, it looked like he was catching on last night, and again, like you said, I think the longer he's here, the more he's going to adjust to that breaking pitch. And there it is right there, fastball on the inside part of the plate, and he fights it off. So that's a good piece of hitting right there by Cradle.
Cradle's bloop into center field, the first hit of the ball game for the Chiefs.
And there you see it, fastball on the inside part of the plate. Had a good swing at it, and he muscles it over for a base hit. We have a big treat coming in the booth right now, Ted. Flew all the way in from Cincinnati. Good friend of yours, good friend of mine, and a real good friend to everybody here in Syracuse. We have Dan Horde with us. Dan, it's good to see you.
Watch out. Wow. I come on the air and I almost lose
Just
my
hit our monitor. Yeah, hit that monitor.
That was frightening.
Well, welcome. How about that for a little welcome, Dan?
Yeah. Who's hitting? What did I ever say about you, pal?
Did you and Rich Rowland have a falling out a couple of seasons ago? Rowland blasts one to deep center field. Cole is back to the infield. He won't catch it. It's rolling to the wall. Rowland round second. Cradle is in to score. Rich Rowland heading over to third base with a stand-up triple. And we are tied 1-1.
Well, and if you've seen that, you had 2 triples in 1 inning right there. I think today we might even see an inside the park home run.
That would be fitting. I'll tell you what, too, on a day when people that have come here for years are reminiscing about great things they've seen at Macarthur Stadium, I'm sure a lot of their memories have to do with Wild Blue Yonder, the center field fence. And sure enough, we're seeing the kinds of plays that great outfield wall made possible all these years.
Well, it would be awful nice to see somebody leave an exclamation point, hit one out, and become one of the players that hit one over the Blue Monster out there.
There have been 8. How many have you seen? Do you know?
I have not seen one.
You haven't seen any?
I have not seen one. When Willie Aikens hit his, I was here, but believe it or not, I was going to. I went to the concession stand and I missed it.
Very good. How many years did you play professional ball?
I played professional ball for 11 years.
And they never taught you when the cleanup hitter's at the plate, you don't go get a hot dog.
Well, usually I was taking a shower by the time the cleanup guy came in.
Well, I saw the Willie Makins home run over the center field fence, and Domingo Martinez and Carlos Delgado, so 3 out of 8. It only took me 700 games.
Pretty good percentage.
And there is the Blue Monster of which we speak in straightaway center. Shannon Stewart takes ball 2 outside from Pierce. 1 on, 1 run in, and 1 man at third. Rich Rowland is standing there after the stand-up triple. Pierce in a little bit of a jam here in the bottom of the 3rd inning as the Chiefs have tied at 1-1. And that pitch inside to Shannon Stewart, so Shannon way ahead in the count. 3 balls, 1 strike. A bittersweet day for you, Dan, to see the final game ever at Macarthur Stadium. You spent about a decade as the Chiefs play-by-play man on radio and also did some of these games on Cable 13.
A little bittersweet, but mostly happy. Happy to be back. This is the first time I've been back since I went to Cincinnati.
Deep drive to left center field off the bat of Stewart. Rowland tags, and he will come in and score the second run of the ball game for the Chiefs. And at least 10,000 fans in the stands here at Macarthur Stadium cheering for the Chiefs as they've come back to take a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the 3rd.
In some ways, this is like an opening day game for me, Steve. And I'm sure you can identify with this, and you too, Ted, in that it's like that family reunion you have the first day of the season where you see everybody you haven't seen in a long time and you hug and you share memories from the past several months. That's been wonderful today.
And there's quite a few dignitaries here, like you said, that you do see out on opening day.
First pitch swinging, Scott Pose fouls it down the first base line. Dan, I didn't get my hug yet.
Oh, Steve didn't hug you? You're a married man.
Yes, we are lining up to receive hugs from Dan Horde.
Guys, nice talking to you. I'll see you later.
Back to Cincinnati.
Yeah,
there's a buzzkill. Once you start talking about physical contact, Scott Pose stands in the 1-1, grounded sharply to second, and Pose will be thrown out by Bill Selby. And that's the end of the 3rd inning, but the Chiefs come back to take a 2-1 lead, and let's throw it to Dave Ryan. I guess he's standing about 15, 20 feet away.
Yeah,
Dave, take it away.
Not you at all, actually, here in the press box. You know, all the guys who work very hard behind the scenes here at Philadelphia Cable 13 often don't get the credit they certainly deserve. One of those is right here to my left. His name is Ron Freilich, and he's a cameraman. One thing Ron loves very much is pizza. So, Ron, in honor of all the great work you've done for us on live television, congratulations. There's your piece of pizza. Ron loves pizza here at Big Mac, and here's a chance on live TV to make sure he gets a cameo appearance. It's not often that happens. Oh, and Dan Horde also gives me a Coke. Ron, here you go, to wash that down. Now, can you operate the camera is the question, Ron, while holding the pizza and the cola? Actually, guys, it looks like you can. That's a fantastic effort. A home run hitter. Guys, back to you.
Well, he was a little thrown by the pizza with that tree shot, but we get the idea.
Didn't they change the pizza policy here at Macarthur Stadium as a direct result of Ron? Didn't they start doling it out a person per slice? That might have been me, actually.
Not only that, but the pizza is available on fewer home dates per season, as it had been in years previous. We are heading to the top of the 4th inning here at Macarthur Stadium. The last crack at Big Mac. Obviously, you can tell we're having a good time with the last game ever at Macarthur Stadium. Hope you are enjoying the telecast as well on this Labor Day. Louis Andujar is throwing pretty hard for the Syracuse Chiefs today and now has a lead to work with for the first time in this ball game. Bill Selby steps in to lead off the 4th for Pawtucket, and he blasted a home run deep to right field his first trip in the 1st inning. Selby bounces one off the plate. Winky will make the play over to first. Safe. Selby digs it out with the infield base hit, so he is 2 for 2 on the day.
Right there, Wenke made a nice play. Normally a first baseman, he made a nice running throw, got it over there. Selby runs pretty well, especially getting out of the box from the left side. Just got by Andujar there. Wenke comes up, they kind of double pump there, and that was the difference between safe and out right there.
So have you guys already gone through the most vivid memory type stuff today?
Well, somebody asked me that before the game, and I don't have any one in particular. As fly out to center field for out number 2. But I think there's so many. I've been here for a long time, and I was here as an opponent, too. My first taste of Big Mac was in 1972, as we see a replay on a good slider. I came here as a mud hen, and I was telling Johnny that I was pitching when the game was called on account of fog. Couldn't see your center fielder. And he says, I don't ever remember a game being called on account of fog. He looked it up. He says, you're absolutely right. He went back into the history pages downstairs, and he pointed it out, suspended by fog.
Plenty suspended by snow, and at least a few by fog.
Alan Zinter steps in with 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning. He takes a strike from Louis Andujar.
With Syracuse playing Pawtucket, I instantly think back to 1985 and the longest game in Chiefs history, which I had the honor to broadcast my first year. 27 innings between these two teams.
Well, I was sweating a little bit because I thought they might have broken the record that the
That's right.
Pawtucket and Rochester had, which I took part in, and 27 innings. That's quite a marathon right there.
It certainly was, and my broadcast quality reflected it.
Base it up the middle for Alan Zinter on an 0-2 count, so Andujar loses him, and with 1 out, runners at first and second for Pawtucket, and that'll bring Jose Malave to the plate.
Every baseball broadcaster has stats and media guides and so forth to rely on in the event of a long game where you need to fill some time. But 9 days before that 27-inning game in 1985, the Chiefs played a 21-inning game in Columbus. So I'd already used all the material. I had nothing, folks. By about the 17th inning, I was saying some of the stupidest things that have ever been said in a broadcast.
Were you by yourself in the booth?
For most of the game, although I had Dave Cohen on with me in the tail end of it. Because it was spread out over 3 days. They hit the curfew the first night, played an inning the next night, and then it rained. Finally finished the 27-inning game on the 3rd night.
Well, that's tough, especially if you had to do most of that all by yourself.
The 21-inning game in Columbus, I did entirely by myself. The Chicken was there that night for Columbus. He always wrapped up his act in the 7th inning stretch time, and then he would go sign autographs. Chiefs scored 3 in the top of the 18th. The Chicken came out of nowhere after having been gone for 3 hours, and Columbus, inspired by the sight of this man prancing around in a chicken suit, promptly scored 3 in the bottom of the 18th to extend the game.
Now, did the Chicken stay until the end, or did he bail out early?
No, he was there from there on in. Little weasel.
The 1-2 to Malave. Just a bit outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So Andujar missing the outside corner just barely. That evens the count at 2-2.
Well, your most memorable moment, I'm sure you have a lot of them, but is there any one in your mind that stands out more than any other?
Malave stands and watches strike 3 go right past him, and that's the 2nd out of the inning and the 3rd strikeout for Andujar.
From a very personal standpoint, the most memorable thing about Macarthur Stadium for me was walking down that dingy hallway in the winter of 1985 after getting a call from Tex to come and see him, stepping into his office at the end of the hallway and being offered the opportunity to broadcast the games, because anything that I ever accomplish in this business will be a direct result of that phone call. So I get a little bit teary-eyed even thinking about that.
That's great to hear. And fellows like yourself, I know Sean McDonough feels the same way. Way back when it was WAER over there at the Syracuse University.
And then as far as other moments associated with the games, actually I think of some of the personal jokes we played on Joel Marinas, including a great one that you were involved with.
The old peanut bag
the
one.
The peanut bag gag was one of the most well-constructed practical jokes ever.
Now, we've got to hear this again. This is a story that each time you hear it is funnier than the last time you heard it.
Well, I hope we can get it in with 2 out here. We might want to save it for the next half inning.
That'll be our tease as we head toward the bottom of the 4th.
The peanut bag gag.
Up next. The 2-1 to Hattiesburg. High and outside, 3 balls, 1 strike.
Stay tuned. The peanut bag gag is coming up shortly.
Andujar stares in for the sign. The 3-1 to Hattiesburg. High fly ball deep to right field, but this one will stay in the park. Pose is under it, and he makes the grab for out number 3. So Louis Andujar does a nice job of working out of the jam. So after 3.5, the Chiefs will bat in the bottom of the 4th with a 2-1 lead.
Now the challenge, as we tell, the peanut bag gag is for the crew to demonstrate the various spots in this story. So be prepared, be on your toes. Here we go. Several years ago, the Chiefs were having a celebrity vendor night, and Steve Grilly, former pitching great for the Chiefs and outstanding broadcast colleague of mine, was one of the celebrity vendors. His job was to sell peanuts. So we constructed this gag, and Joel Marinas, another great broadcasting partner, was the butt of the joke. Early in the broadcast, we began talking about how Steve was going to toss a bag of peanuts from the concourse down there all the way up into the press box, which is physically impossible. There's not enough weight to a bag of peanuts to be able to do that, even with that 90-mile-an-hour fastball that he still has. So in any case, every couple of innings, I would mention this on the air. Joel, remember, at some point during this game, Steve is going to toss a bag of peanuts from the concourse into our booth. And he was saying, no, it's impossible. And you can see how far it would be to toss one from ground level up into the booth. So he said, it's impossible, Dan, it can't be done. Well, when it came to about the 5th or 6th inning and Joel was doing the play-by-play, Steve snuck up the stairs to the press box, walked out on the roof to the point where you can actually reach around and toss something into the home radio booth. So when Joel was looking out at the field, Steve backhanded a bag of peanuts at about 200 miles an hour that hit Joel right in the face. And after he realized what it was, he said, oh my God, he did it! Steve Grilly did it! And it was about 3 or 4 days before we told him how he actually pulled it off. It was one of the better gags we've ever constructed.
Well,
you can see right there where the person could have been on the edge of the roof, reached around, and backhanded a bag of peanuts in off Joel's head.
He never saw it coming. I think he was looking down at his stat page, and I knocked his glasses off.
Yes, you did. I think you broke his glasses. He said he was going to bill you. Get your wallet out now.
Don't remind him. Oh, he's doing the broadcasting for radio, so he doesn't even know that we're talking about
Well,
this.
I think I'm going to visit him at some point and relay some of the other good gags that, unfortunately for him, he was the butt of. I think he got the pie in the face about 5 consecutive years.
I think you may see that tonight.
Oh, we have, or it might happen again?
I think so.
Oh, my. Something else to look forward to, definitely.
Well, that made ESPN.
A couple years in a row.
That definitely has to happen again today. Let's put that together between now and the end of the ball game, because we only have a few more innings to work with. The last game ever at Macarthur Stadium continues as the Chiefs bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning with a 2-1 lead over the Pawtucket Red Sox. And to lead things off in the 4th, Felipe Crespo tries to bunt his way on base. Ball trickles foul, and it's strike 1 to Crespo.
I thought he was going to have a great year this year for the Blue Jays. I guess injuries have held him back this year, but boy, he looked good last year.
A lot of people compared him to Baerga.
Mm-hmm. Quadzilla. Look at those quadricep muscles. Biggest legs of a second baseman you'll ever see.
Crespo with a deep drive to center field, but Cole settles under it for out number 1. Alex Cole certainly covers a lot of ground in center field for Pawtucket. He had been penciled in to be the starting center fielder for the Boston Red Sox this season, but he just couldn't hit. So now he's back down at the AAA level.
Good tail on the fastball. And you're hitting it to no man's land out there in deep center field.
Felix Jose steps in. Chiefs cleanup hitter, 0 for 1 on the day. Popped out to short left field. His first trip to the plate. And Pierce misses outside, ball 1.
As I was flying from Cincinnati this morning, I was naturally thinking about some things that I saw here over the years. And really, the people came to mind. The great players, both in Chiefs uniforms and in opposing uniforms, that we've been privileged to see over the 10 years or so that I was here. But obviously, the great history of this stadium before that. It's unbelievable. Most of the great players of the past 50 years have played here.
But the one that comes to mind most is every time I see him is Freddie McGriff.
Mm-hmm. He was here at the age of 19, and you could see then how great he was going to be.
A lot of people at that point said he looked like Darryl Strawberry. And
it's the 28-inch waist.
Jose walks on 4 pitches. Well, for a long time, the marketing slogan had been "See Tomorrow Stars Today" here at Macarthur Stadium, and it's really true. A lot of the players in the major leagues now have come up through the International League, and a few seasons prior to this one, the American Association as well. So some of those players came through with the AAA Alliance also. John Ramos takes strike one.
If you can imagine the '86 Chiefs with Fred McGriff at first base, Cecil Fielder had to play left field.
And there's a base hit into right field. Jose will stop at second, and Ramos is on with a single. So with one out, the Chiefs have runners at first and second, and another rally is brewing here for the Chiefs in the bottom of the fourth.
Cecil Fielder was not particularly fleet-footed out there in left. He was about 3 pounds lighter than he is now. And, you know, if the ball did not hit him on the head, he was not going to catch it, but he would make up for it with a 3-run home run every time he hit.
Now, who played third base for that team, Dan? Was
Kelly Gruber.
Kelly Gruber. So there's another great ball player for the Toronto Blue Jays during their heydays.
And the reason why Cecil didn't DH was they had another big bruiser named Chris Johnston.
Chris Winkie flies one deep to center field. Cole makes the grab, and Jose didn't tag at second, so he will have to remain there. So it's a long fly out to center field for Chris Winkie, and it's out number 2 here in the bottom of the fourth.
Well, I think it's a base running blunder right there. That ball's hit that deep. You had to know he was going to catch up to it, and he should be on third base right now. Possibly not the who's on first there? It's
Ramos
is on first. Probably not likely that he could have gotten to second base.
Right, but Jose should definitely be standing at third right now.
Third, yep.
So Miguel Cairo comes to the plate with 2 men out, runners at first and second in the bottom of the fourth, and the Chiefs trying to build on this 2-1 lead over the Paw Sox. Cairo struck out swinging his last trip against Jeff Pierce. There's a fly ball deep to left center field, but Cole with a lot of range in center makes the grab for out number 3. So Alex Cole has been busy this afternoon running down balls in center field. He makes the catch for out number 3, and the Chiefs leave 2 men stranded in the bottom of the fourth inning. Dave Ryan has been roaming around good old Macarthur Stadium on this Labor Day. Let's head back down to Dave downstairs. Dave.
Okay, Ted, thanks a lot. We're joined by Jack Morris from Channel 9 here in town, of course, weekend sports anchor, and also former voice of the Syracuse Chiefs from 1965 to 70. Tell us about the experience today. It's got to be kind of a magical moment for you to see it all coming to an end.
I enjoy the energy that's here, Dave. I enjoy the feeling of, hey, we're saying goodbye to a No. I think it's time, probably. Big Mac, you've been wonderful to us, but it's time.
And looking forward down the line, we could have some more great memories from a new stadium, I guess.
Absolutely, and I'm just anticipating with all kinds of excitement. You know, I can hardly wait to when. April 13th, is that when the opening day is? Let's play ball.
Now, the Lightning story, Jack. What happened on that one?
That was a doubleheader, I believe, and it was against Richmond, and it was probably a Sunday afternoon. John Harmon and I were in the broadcast booth. A lot of rain had fallen. Here and there some lightning strikes, but not enough to stop the game. And then suddenly we took a hit. Ba-ba-boom. And all I can say was there's like somebody shook the whole building, in this case the whole press box. And of course we had all the microphones, the wires, the other electrical connections, and it was very interesting. It got very electric.
Luckily you're okay.
Oh yeah, we survived.
Jack, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, back up to you guys in the press box.
Thanks a lot, Dave and Jack. And you can only be talking about Macarthur Stadium when you say that getting struck by lightning was a fond memory. If this old ballpark could talk, all the stories we've heard from the various people who visited us today. Eddie Zambrano at the plate, and he is quickly down in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Takes ball 1 just a bit high from Andujar. Andujar has thrown 51 pitches on the day, 32 of them, or rather 31 of those, for strikes. And Andujar gets his 4th strikeout of the day.
He froze him right there. Fastball right across the knees. He wasn't looking for it. It looks like he was looking for either a breaking ball or something off speed, but there's a good old hard ball right there, right down the middle.
Lou Merlone stands in, grounds one to Winky down at third. He backs up on it, and the ball eats him up. Rolls into short left field, so Merlone will be on. They will call it an error on the third baseman, Chris Winky. So with one out, Merlone is on first, thanks to the error by the third baseman, Winky.
Well, as a first baseman, Winky has the real option to knock it down. At third base, you really can't. You got to try to field it as cleanly as possible, especially if you're backing away from the ball. And again, a strange position for Winky tonight, playing third base. Did you know, Dan, I was telling Ted that they're sending him down there to instructional ball for to catch.
He's got the makeup for it, and he's a tough kid. He'd be ideal for it if he can make the change.
Well, you think about it, he was a quarterback in high school and still highly recruited by the colleges. And your catcher is the leader behind the plate, calling the pitches, moving the infielders around.
They're hoping his bat comes around as well. He hit 15 home runs for Knoxville earlier this season, but since rejoining the Chiefs in 1996, he's struggling at about 190. Once again, we're coming to you from Macarthur Stadium. Ted DeLuca, Steve Grilli, and Dan Hoard with us as we bring you the last game ever at Macarthur Stadium. And Cole lines a base hit to left field. Merlone will stop at second. So with one out in the top of the fifth, Pawtucket is threatening with runners at first and second.
Shortstop, Tony Rodriguez.
You know, I was in town, Rocket Wheeler. He's managing the Toronto Blue Jays St. Catherine's Club. And they went to Auburn, and he was in town. Stopped by, and I chatted with him for a bit. So
great guy.
Been a great summer. I've gotten to see a lot of people that I haven't seen in the past, and it's a welcome sight to see you.
Thank you. It's great to be back. I really have to thank Tex and John Simone for bringing me back today. It's exciting to be here. It really is.
Are you going to stay for a couple of days, or do you have to head back?
Have to head back tomorrow to be back at work on Wednesday morning. So I'll be leaving town tomorrow at about 5.
Tony Rodriguez takes ball too high. Now we understand you're doing some play-by-play for Cincinnati football this season.
Cincinnati football on the radio and basketball on TV.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Outstanding assignment.
You didn't see the Cincinnati game on Friday.
I saw the final score, but I did not see the game.
Such a great assignment this week.
But you can give us a Tulane scouting report. Rodriguez lines a base hit into right field. Merlone comes around to score as Cole motors into third. So Pawtucket has tied it up 2-2. Merlone scores on the single by Rodriguez. Runners at the corners now.
Roland was setting up way outside, and unfortunately, Andujar didn't get it where he wanted it. Ball cut the middle of the plate. Good line drive base hit, and it's a tie score here in the fifth.
So Andujar is getting knocked around a bit here in the top of the fifth, and that'll bring up the dangerous Bill Selby. He's 2 for 2 on the day. A long solo home run to right field, his first time at bat, and he singled in the fourth.
Here's a fellow that spent some time with Boston, and the way the Boston Red Sox are playing, I think when they expand the roster any day now, here's a guy that might get an assignment to round out their roster up there for their 40-man roster.
Red Sox used a lot of players this season trying to find the right combination to get back in the pennant race in the American League. And they finally did come out with a decent lineup to get back into the race.
Jeff Fry and Darren Bragg have helped turn around that season. That's amazing.
They sure have. They've made a big difference.
Started 6-19. At the beginning of August, the Reds were 2 games out of first in the Central, and I think the Red Sox were 14 or 16 back in the AL East, and now the Red Sox are closer to first in their division than the Reds are.
At one point, Boston won 20 of 26 to get back in the race after the All-Star break. Andujar had to throw a strike there, and he did. It's 3 balls, 1 strike to Selby. Andujar trying to get out of the inning. Runners at the corners, 1 out, 1 run in as Pawtucket is tied at 2-2. Another hard fastball from Andujar, fouled off by Selby, and that'll make it a full count. We see the Syracuse defense here in the top of the 5th inning. Outfield straightaway. Right fielder Pose is deep in right. Remember, Selby belted a solo home run in the 1st inning, well beyond the right field wall. The 3-2 from Louis Andujar. Once again, Selby skies it to right. Pose will make the grab. Cole tags at third. Here comes the throw from Scott Pose, and the play at the plate, safe! Cole in there a split second before Rich Rowland could apply the tag, and that, gentleman, a very close play at the plate.
Yes, it was, and if it had come to the other side of the plate, he would have been out. It was about a foot or two to the first base side of home plate, and I think that was the difference between being safe and being out. Here it is again. You get a good shot of where the throw was. Good strong throw. Just a little bit up the line.
Alex Cole is one of the fastest guys in baseball, not just in this league, but anywhere. That was a great throw, even to make it that close. And as you say, had it been a little bit more to the left, you would have had him.
Home plate umpire Lazaro Diaz made the call. So 2 men are out. 2 runs in for Pawtucket. The Red Sox have a 3-2 lead, and the dangerous Phil Clark stands in, and he lines a line drive into center field, and it hangs up there just enough for Stewart to make the grab for out number 3. But the Red Sox get 2 runs in the top of the 5th to overtake the Chiefs, and through 4 1/2, the Chiefs trail Pawtucket 3-2 in the last crack at Big Mac, last game ever at Macarthur Stadium. And we understand, guys, the wrecking ball will hit Big Mac later on this month, and the brand new ballpark just beyond the left field wall will open for business in the spring of 1997.
I don't know if you realize it, but over the right field wall, there's a couple of trailers out there, and that is going to be the new home office while the new stadium is being constructed and while the old one is being torn down.
And the sad thing is, that's an improvement. It's never been one of the strengths of this facility. And there are the offices to be.
Let's rejoin Dave Ryan downstairs.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. George Sturzer is here along with Betty and Jack Sturzer, the whole group, brothers, sisters, and you've been here for a long, long time. Since the ballpark opened in 1934, you've seen a lot of games here, and you're in the front row again. Tell us, I guess, can you estimate, first of all, how many games it's been overall?
I don't know, a lot of games, a lot of pleasure.
And what's the feeling like today for you?
Well, it brings back a lot of happy memories. A lot of people have passed through here as managers, players, and quite a few of them are in the Hall of Fame. Some of them aren't, but they're all Hall of Famers because they're in baseball.
And I see you have the T-shirt, too, commemorating the day.
Yes.
Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Betty, tell us about your thoughts. What's it like for you to see this last game here?
Well, I think it's very sentimental, and I'm sure we're going to miss old Macarthur, but we're looking forward to the new Macarthur because it's going to be a wonderful job for all these future stars to come. All the future stars and all the past stars who have played at Macarthur Stadium has just been wonderful. We've been so fortunate to see many big-time ball players.
Now, your brother in the next row has quite a shirt here. Show us the shirt exactly you've got. It says to Jack, right?
Yes. I got that a month ago when I saw Toronto play Pat Henkin 1-0, and when they were coming out of the locker room, Pat signed one side and Joe Carter the other. It's a great thing is baseball, you know. I snuck in right field there where the Hoffman sign is, right underneath. They didn't have it finished yet. There was just room enough for me to sneak in.
You've seen quite a few games then, huh?
Yes. They played Montreal in 1934.
Great memories. Thanks a lot for joining us, you guys. Enjoy the rest of the game. Okay, back up to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Dave. It's amazing to talk to most of the people who are here today who can tell you stories like that. People who've been baseball fans for 50 years or 5 years, or they may be 5 years old, and they're all excited to be here on this last day ever at Macarthur Stadium. 1 out in the bottom of the 5th, Rich Rowland at the plate. He blasted a triple to center field his last time up and motored into third base standing before coming in to score on the Shannon Stewart sacrifice fly. Rowland pops it up to the second baseman, Selby, in short right field, and he makes the grab for out number 2.
You know, a lot of the people that I talk to they always point out in the old days how opening day school was closed. It was a holiday actually, and they would close the schools so the kids can come out to the ballpark. It'd be a nice gesture with the new opening of the new stadium. It's going to be a big occasion here, and I know everybody's going to want to attend the first game of the new home for the Chiefs.
Of course, now that your kids are out of school, that's easy for you to say. But that actually is still the case in Cincinnati because it was the first professional baseball franchise. Opening day is a holiday in Cincinnati. They have a big parade through the center of town, and kids are off from school.
Well, traditionally, isn't Cincinnati open up Major League Baseball's first game?
Traditionally, until ESPN got the Sunday night package, and now there's a Sunday night game. The first Sunday night game was in Cincinnati, but now there's generally a game played before Cincinnati opens that next day.
Tradition changes.
Yes, it does when TV pays the bills.
Shannon Stewart had to jackknife away from ball 2, and he swings and misses, make it 2 balls and a strike. And Dan, we can't talk baseball and refer to Cincinnati without mentioning the name Marge Schott.
Sure we can.
It'd be a nice thing to do, but what are your impressions of what she's been up to lately? Apparently, once again, she has reared her ugly head, for lack of a better term. Stewart skies this ball deep to right field, and it hits off the top of the fence, remaining in play, and Stewart has a stand-up double with 2 men out here in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, we'll talk about Marge and make it brief. For one thing, she's not supposed to do interviews right now. She signed an agreement with Major League Baseball a couple of months ago prohibiting her from doing interviews, but every now and then she talks anyway. More than anything else, it's just an older woman that I feel badly for. She doesn't mean harm in most cases, but she really should just keep her bigoted opinions to herself. Unfortunately, a lot of people still have some of those feelings, but most of the rest of the world is smart enough to keep them to themselves. And she could avoid all these problems if she would just say no.
She's definitely a throwback to another generation. Scott Pose fouls one off beyond the stands, behind third base. Chiefs have the tying run at second base with 2 out in the bottom of the 5th as they trail Pawtucket 3-2. Pose is 0 for 2 on the afternoon. And once again, Pose drills it foul behind the stands to our left, behind third base. And he is quickly down in the count. No balls, 2 strikes.
I kind of thought so. I saw some cameras. I think the traditional Joel Marinas pie in the face just took place. As you could see him, he's got his head turned right there.
Pose with a shot to center field, but Alex Cole is there to make the grab for out number 3, stranding Shannon Stewart at second base. Let's go downstairs to Dave Ryan.
Hey, I got 2 left in the Ice Cold. You got them. Hey, Ice Cold beer here.
Well, Ted, as you can see it here, it's Jim Durkin.
Let's go. Hey, let's go.
Long time beer salesman here at Big Mac.
There.
Now, Jim, watch your step there. Tell us about all your great memories, and it must be a great moment for you today.
Oh, this is super. This is one of the best days I ever had, but one of the saddest days because I hate to see it end. This is a great ballpark, and I always loved it. I came here with my dad many years ago, and I just love the people and everything about the park. I love the grass. I hate to see the grass go. And the fans are just super every year, and I have such a great time working. To me, it's not a job. It's a pleasure coming here. I've been here 37 years, and I wish I had another 37 to go.
I see your hat there, Jim. Did you really see Elvis?
Oh, I saw Elvis twice at the War Memorial. Yeah. But he came here at the first day of the season. Came back to see me, I guess. He gave me his hat.
I see that. What are you going to take with you in terms of memories?
Just the memories of the fans and the good fans I've lost over the years and the great times I have every time I come here. It's hard to give up them memories. I'll have them forever.
You're still going to be selling beer and programs at the new ballpark across the street here?
I hope so. I'm looking forward to working another 20 years.
We'd love to hear you. One more beer for us. Go ahead. Give us a good one.
Hey, let's go.
Outstanding. Guys, The fans love it, as you can see. Let's go back upstairs to you, Stephen 10, the press box.
Thanks a lot, Dave. And there we see Joel Marinas, longtime play-by-play man for the Syracuse Chiefs on radio, and he did receive the traditional pie in the face on this last crack at Big Mac. And I'll tell you, Steve, it just would not have been a fitting end to the days of baseball at Macarthur Stadium if Joel didn't get the pie in the face today.
Well, you know something, he's a good egg about it, too. I got to give Joel a lot of credit, and he's been the blunt of that for a long time, but he's a good egg about it, so it's good. It's good to see him having a good time up here with everybody.
Alan Zinter skies one to left field, and Ricky Cradle makes the grab about 10 feet shy of the foul line. So Zinter flies out to left to start off the top of the sixth for Pawtucket. We've spent a lot of time telling you about the excitement and the festivities and all the luminaries in the stands here at Macarthur Stadium for the last game ever at this beloved ballpark. But we have a pretty darn good baseball game shaping up, and Louis Andujar has done a fine job on the mound working out of trouble when Pawtucket has reached him for several base hits.
The first time that we pied Joel, Derek Bell did the honors and did it with a shaving cream pie. He just put shaving cream in a pie tin, and it burned his eyes.
Well, that's not funny at all, Dave.
No, it isn't really. So this time they got him with ice cream pie, and it, as you can see, was quite a mess.
Much better results. Well, the ice cream didn't stay solid very long on this day.
No, they held it out in the sun for a while, and now it's dripping all over his clothes. But Joel's wonderful wife, Georgie, warned him today, Joel, don't wear anything good to the park. You know they're going to hit you with a pie. So sure enough, he wore an old outfit, and he can throw it out at the end of the day.
So she knew it was coming.
She knew it was coming. He never remembers, but she sure as heck did.
Well, another error for Wenke here. Unfamiliar territory at third base. A short hop to first. And Ramos unable to handle that.
Tough afternoon for Chris Wenke at third. His second error of the day. Malave standing at second base with one man out. And Scott Hatterberg comes to the plate. He is 0 for 2 on the afternoon against Louis Andujar. He struck out back in the second inning and then flied out later in the contest. Hatterberg lines one to first, and the play at second, double play. Rich Rowland over at first base made the stab and then fired down to second for the double play. So the Chiefs are down 3-2, middle of the sixth. Much more from Big Mac after this.
And welcome back to the final day ever in the 63-year history of baseball here in the north side of Syracuse at Macarthur Stadium. We're joined by Bob Nelson from the Toronto Blue Jays. Bob, tell us about the standpoint from your position with the brand new ballpark coming up. And from the Blue Jays perspective, you've got a lot of history leaving Big Mac, but at the same time, the brand new ball yard across the street.
Well, there's no doubt the history is here. I mean, everyone's fully aware of that. But we found 6 years ago when we moved from Exhibition Stadium to the Sky Dome that it made a big difference in the perspective of the fans, how they could approach the game. They always knew they were going to be there. Big, good facility to watch a ball game. And next year, when you move into your stadium, the fans will be a lot more comfortable. It'll add a lot of atmosphere and newness to what they're doing here. From a baseball standpoint, the facility here that you're going to move into is very similar to the Sky Dome. It doesn't have a roof. However, the standards, the AstroTurf field, the dimensions down the line to center field are almost identical to the Sky Dome, so it's very, very important for us that the players coming up have had a similar situation.
So as Director of Player Development, you're pleased from the Blue Jays standpoint with the new facility and how that'll be in terms of treating the AAA players for the Chiefs?
Oh, absolutely. We've been working with Tex and John Simone on the architectural part of the stadium from the baseball standpoint from the beginning, and everything's working out very, very well.
Okay, Bob Nelson, Director of Player Development for the Jays. Thanks for joining us very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the game, guys. Back upstairs to you.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Ken Grunt is on the pitch now for Pawtucket. Ted DeLuca, Steve Grilly, Dan Horde, and now Bob Snyder from the Syracuse Herald-Journal with us. Guys, great to have you all on board for the last crack at Big Mac.
Good to be here.
You want good stories, this is the man right here.
I was about to say, Bob, you've been covering the Chiefs and sports in Syracuse for years and years and years. I don't want to date you, but it's been a long time.
About 30 years, give or take a
Because he started when he was 12.
Yeah, right. I got to clean up my stories, though, Dan.
Yes,
you know?
you do.
See, I got the Danny Walton stories. And
well, I'll tell you what. My first year, 1985, was I think your last year on the Everyday Beat.
85 was the last season on basketball and baseball on the beats. Yeah.
Chiefs won the pennant that year. I learned a lot about covering a team from you, and some of my fondest memories were in the old clubhouse. There's a shot down the line.
Base hit for Felipe Crespo, and he's thinking about 2, and he will cruise into second base with a double.
Doug Alt was the Chiefs rookie manager in 85. The Chiefs are still in that old decrepit clubhouse beyond the right field fence. And a great thing about Doug and about Bob covering the games at that time was that at the end of every home game, we would congregate, so to speak, have a couple of mats, beers, and cans, and
that's
talk
the old
baseball.
days when I was drinking. Now I'm drinking fruit juice.
Which is good for you. But back in those days, we would hash out the game. And guys don't sit around talking baseball like they used to. And I'll tell you what, I learned a lot about the game that year.
Well, it was a lot of fun that last season with you. And it's true. They just don't hang around the clubhouse. And, in fact, you would have learned even more back in, say, 1970 with the Verdi bunch and Coxey and Bamer and Galani. And those guys lived baseball all the time except when they were out having a little fun. Mm-hmm. And they hung around the clubhouse. I mean, really hung around the clubhouse. We used to talk all night sometimes. I mean, it was unbelievable. Sometimes I wonder how I ever got a story written, but that's another story.
Glad you worked for an afternoon paper.
Yeah, that's true. Except on Saturday night. Then I didn't mess around.
You cut it short those nights.
Yeah.
Felix Jose grounds out to third for out number 1, the bottom of the 6th. Crespo standing on second base with a leadoff double, and that'll bring John Ramos to the plate. 1 for 2 on the day with a single to his credit. Ramos now playing right field as the Chiefs have adjusted their defense. We'll tell you more about that in the top of the 7th.
So the Chiefs won the pennant in that 85 season. They clinched it home here, and a major goal of the guys after that game was to get Snyder into the shower.
Well,
not a pretty sight.
Yeah, this is always true. There's
the hit and run, and the run will come in to score. Ramos is on his way down to second, and he will make it. So the Chiefs use some hit and run as Merlone couldn't handle the hot smash down to third. So Crespo comes in to score the tying run, and John Ramos with heads-up base running motors into second base. The Chiefs have tied it 3-3.
Did you hear Snyder say that should be 2 errors? Toughest official score in Macarthur history.
Old scores never die. They just fade away.
And we'll see John Ramos slide into second base. They have given Ramos a hit.
Well, I'll tell you what, back when Snides was scoring the games, you didn't want to walk through the clubhouse with him immediately after the game.
No, this is...
Because you had to duck.
You had to earn your hits back then.
Yeah, my best story on that one is, let's see, Morgan. Mike Morgan. It didn't deal with official scoring as much as it did writing, because I kind of challenged his intestinal fortitude. I said he had a big league arm, which he proved that he did, of course. But I didn't think in here that I thought he lacked something, and I wrote it. And the next day he threw at my head, and I never broke stride. He missed me, and I just never broke stride. Walked in to the manager's office, as I customarily did before the game, and said, guess what? Your bleep right-hander just threw at my head, and of course he missed.
It reminds me of the scene in Bull Durham where Kevin Costner has the ball and he says, here, hit me.
Right.
So it's right. That's real baseball right there.
And official scoring-wise, the worst one was Chris Cannizzaro wanted to take me to the wall on scoring on a doubleheader.
Squeeze bunt, and the run will score. 4-3 Chiefs. Miguel Cairo with the perfect bunt. He motors down to first base with the base hit, and Ramos comes in to score. So an unlikely call by the Chiefs. Richie Hebner is pulling out all the stops on this last day ever at Big Mac. Lou Merlone can't handle the bunt. Perhaps took his eye off the ball momentarily. The run scores, and it's 4-3 Chiefs after the squeeze play.
Well, Snides, I was a player in the 70s, and I will have to say, you were fair, and you told it like it was, as the saying goes. And I don't think you wrote for the players, and that's not what a reporter or the media is supposed to be.
No.
So I think a lot of people respected you for that. And sometimes, like you said, you made a call like that. A lot of the players took it to heart, and they shouldn't. I mean,
well, I don't think you should write for players, and I don't think you should write for editors either. I think you should write for readers, and when you're and from the scoring standpoint, I think you should just score the game as the game should be played at the AAA level or at the level at which you're scoring. And I think AAA ball players, certainly during my time, were really literally just a phone call away from the big leagues and should be of that quality. And I required of them near major league proficiency, particularly guys that have been around. And you know, whether they liked it or not was their business. I didn't care.
Well, you had a reputation of being tough.
Well, I'm sure that the batting averages would have been higher in Syracuse had I not been the scorer. Ball players told me that, and I agreed with them.
They started winning batting titles after you gave it up. You won about 3 in a row right after.
Right.
Yeah.
The count is 2-2 to Ricky Cradle with 2 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Cairo Stoll second base, a couple of pitches back.
Pitchers love me, though.
I always got
You're a lovable guy.
Right, that's why girls like me.
Grunt missing, and it's 3 balls, 2 strikes to Cradle, who belted 3 home runs last night to give himself his own Big Mac memory before they tear this place down later on this month. The payoff pitch to Ricky Cradle coming from lefty Ken Grunt. He grounds it foul. Looked like the ball bounced off his foot, rolled slowly in front of the plate, so we'll do it over again. Now, Dan, will you be leaving us after this half inning?
I think so.
On to greener pastures.
Over to radio.
Over to the radio side.
Well, let's hope they got rid of all the ice cream cake.
Yeah, I'm not sitting in Marinas' chair, I can tell you that.
It'll be sticky.
Bring a roll of toilet or paper towels in there when you go in there, or toilet paper may suffice.
That'll work.
I guess that might work too. Cradle swings and misses to end the inning, but the Chiefs score twice to make it 4-3. They use the hit and run. They use the suicide squeeze to take a 1-run lead. Dan, great
Ted,
to see you again.
Great to see you,
Thanks
Steve.
for coming by.
Always a pleasure. Good luck with the Cardinals, my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
Snidely.
Good seeing
Wonderful
you, buddy.
seeing
Good
you.
luck
Thank
in
you.
Cincinnati.
All
I
right,
know
thanks
you'll
a
do
lot.
great.
Thanks.
We'll continue our conversation with Bob Snyder after we go downstairs to join Dave Ryan with a gentleman by the name of John Simone. Dave.
Well, Ted, believe it or not, there's no relation, no kidding. In fact, it is John Simone. Now, same spelling, no relation. Obviously, you're not related to the Simones who actually run the ball club, or you wouldn't be out here in the cheap seats. Tell us about some of the confusion and problems you've run into over the years.
I've run into a few problems here. Once in a while, I get phone calls for the manager here, John Simone, and I have to answer to him. Tell them they got the wrong number.
And you had to take your phone number out of the book, isn't that right?
Yes, I did.
Now, about being a Chiefs fan here, John, it's got to be kind of a special feeling to be out here in the cheap seats. This is the real, true essence of a baseball fan, huh?
That's it. Got to do what we got to do to support some loyal fans and be what we can.
What are the top memories you have, John? A Big Mac, you're a lifelong Chiefs fan, and I guess it's got to be kind of an emotional moment to see the old ballpark go down, but a new one right across the street going up.
Yeah, growing up being a youngster, being out on the warning track once or twice before, kind of got to come and see the last game. Have to be there.
All right, John, thanks for joining us. No more confusion, right? Okay, well, these guys, this is pretty much the end of the bleacher area with the weeds growing through here in the seats. That's going to come to an end. And then actually from here, believe it or not, Ted and Steve, you can't even see the scoreboard. With a brand new stadium, we saw in the opening of the broadcast today here on Cable 13, the vantage point is fantastic from wherever you're sitting. Now let's go back into the press box to you guys to understand the real John Simone. He's related. He's over there with you guys. Go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Dave. As a matter of fact, Syracuse Chiefs Assistant General Manager John Simone joins us now. And John, I have to ask you, do you have the same problems that gentleman has? Sometimes when your phone rings late at night, is the caller looking for that guy instead of you?
Well, my number's unlisted, too. The only guy that's got it is you and Hyder. And you're the only ones that call me that late to get me on at 7 in the morning or something. But no, I haven't run across that. It's nice to meet him finally. I've seen his name in the book before.
So you've heard of
I've
this
heard of
guy's
the other
problems.
one. Yep.
So to lead off the top of the 7th inning for Pawtucket, Aaron Fuller is pinch hitting for Eddie Zambrano, who had been playing left field for Pawtucket. Fuller just called up from Double-A Trenton. So, John, we have to ask you, since this is the last game ever at Macarthur Stadium, earlier this week the Chiefs eliminated from the playoffs. Pawtucket will go on to represent the International League East in the playoffs. How do you feel about the fact that later on this month the stadium will be torn down? This area right now will become a parking lot for the new ballpark. It has to be a very bittersweet feeling for you.
Oh, definitely. But like I've told a lot of people, my memories are as a child growing up and, you know, shagging fly balls in the outfield with the old timers and cooking hamburgers for Snides here in the press box when I was a kid. And, but, you know, the last few years being an administrative role, the facility has become a real hard thing to operate. And I think from an operation standpoint, we're really looking forward to moving across. As you can see out in the left field, it's going to be a beautiful facility.
Bob Snyder is with us also from the Syracuse Herald-Journal. And Bob, I remember hearing a story about the fire here at Macarthur Stadium in the late 60s. You actually helped some Chiefs employees take some of the important records out of the business office.
Well, I was doing the Rochester-Syracuse game story down in the office, and on the news phone or whatever, we heard there was a fire at Macarthur. I said, hell, I better can the game story. That doesn't mean anything compared to what might be going on at Macarthur. So I came out here, and stupid guy that I am, I had an expensive suit and raincoat on, I remember. And up I go when the police and fire people finally let us go. There's a base hit in the center. And Dick Horstman and Don Labruzzo and I first climbed up there through the smoke and the water's rushing down the stairs, and it was a little hairy, but I just felt that there might be a story there, and if there is, I better be there. I'll probably get my butt fired if I'm not. So not that I got any extra hazardous duty pay, needless to say.
That doesn't happen in this business.
No, it doesn't. But you know, you go where you feel you should go, and so that was the story and not the game. And at least I was there.
John, there was a lot of things lost in that fire, records and.
Yeah, we saved a lot too, though. Yeah. We went up there and brought a lot down, and so some were lost and some were saved.
John, how do you remember that fire? Because you were just a young boy at the time.
Well, I remember the phone call probably midnight because we had just come home from the game about 11 or 10:30, and you fall asleep and you hear the phone ring that early, and you hear my father say, "Yeah, there's a fire at the ballpark," and he had to rush back down with Bob and all those guys, and then the next morning when you wake up and your friends at school tell you Macarthur Stadium burned down, it's kind of traumatic. And that was the old stadium. That's what I remember the most. What we have now is just a patchwork of what they've done to keep this thing alive and keep baseball in Syracuse, but that was the true old stadium.
Andujar throws a strike to Alex Cole to make the count 3 balls, 1 strike. Andujar still working here in the top of the 7th inning. John, you and I have talked on many occasions about this facility and the fact that it's a patchwork type of stadium, just barely holding together in some places, but it has really been a very serviceable and resilient ballpark through the years.
Well, considering for what it cost and what it cost to redo it after the fire, I think the city of Syracuse got their money's worth out of this facility. And hopefully now, it's costing $28 million to build that over there. But I think in another 40 years, when we look back at that, they'll say, wow, that was pretty cheap to put together a facility like we're going to have. But this has served us well, and it's kept baseball here in Syracuse for over 60 years.
Alex Cole walked, so runners are at first and second with 1 out in the top of the 7th inning. Louis Andujar is still in there, while the Syracuse Chiefs have some activity in the bullpen down the right field line. Jim Sykowski, the right-hander, is warming up, and it looks like Ken Robinson will start warming up as well momentarily. John, how about the naming rights for the new ballpark? We understand that as we take a look at Sykowski warming up in the pen, We understand that the price tag is $2.5 million for some company or corporation to step forward to buy the naming rights for the new ballpark.
Well, the County of Onondaga, Nick Pirro, head coach, and his staff are out there talking to some prospective people. And when that individual or corporation gives whatever they want, we'll have a name. But they're in charge of it, and we hope, shortly they have an announcement for us, because I think it's important going into the final year, or into the next year, now that this stadium is done, to have a new name for this stadium. So hopefully they don't wait too much longer and we get something up there.
So there will be some takers to pay that price.
Yeah, there's people out there, I think, that are willing to pay maybe a price that they're not interested in right now. So they're still trying to surface anybody they can. And if they get it, they get it. If not, I think they have somebody.
I heard Joe Robbie's available.
Yes, you can scratch the Pro Player Company off the list, as they bought the naming rights to Joe Robbie Stadium. Tony Rodriguez swings and misses the high, hard one from Andujar, who is still throwing the ball very hard, Steve, here in the top of the 7th inning. He has been very impressive today.
Well, he has. There's no doubt he's got a major league arm. And it's just a matter of tuning him up and getting him ready. Get a little more control of his off-speed stuff, and he'll pitch at a major league level.
Bill Selby stands in and takes strike one on the outside corner.
He reminds me a little bit of Juan Guzman. He has a little bit of a hesitation in his motion, and he throws hard like Juan did when he was down here in Syracuse.
Yeah. And seeing him before the game, these guys are really pumped up. They were. It wasn't going to be one of your swing at the first pitch, let's get out of your games. Both teams are very excited about playing in the final game here ever. He was really pumped getting the assignment, and it's been a great game so far.
It really has. It's been a great day to see all the familiar faces here at the ballpark for the last game ever, but it's been a very well played and a tight baseball game all the way through. As Selby stands in with a 1-1 count, swings and fouls it straight back our way over the press box. And Andujar is one strike away from getting out of a difficult situation here in the top of the 7th inning. Runners at first and second with 2 men out, and Andujar is ahead in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. So we'll see what Bill Selby can do in this situation. He homered back in the first inning, a shot over the right field wall, his 11th of the season. Andujar gets the sign from the catcher, Terry McGriff, fires high and outside, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. As we told you earlier in the broadcast, Andujar came over in a trade with the Chicago White Sox, made 1 start earlier this season for the Chiefs. No decision. Pitched 5 innings, yielded 10 hits, 4 runs, 2 of them earned. But as we have seen today, he throws the ball exceptionally hard. The 2-2 from Andujar. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Louis Andujar comes through in a big way, stranding runners at first and second in the top of the 7th, and he gets a standing ovation as he walks off the field, and Bill Selby heads back to the Pawtucket dugout.
This is high inside heat right there. It's just a good old hardball game right when you face this guy. He just rear back and throws, Bob.
He was, I remember this guy from stuff I do every year for Street and Smiths. And this guy, I've had him as a prospect in Street and Smiths. So I was looking forward to seeing him throw today. He can bring it.
We talked about the naming rights for the new ballpark with John Simone. We'll send it downstairs to Dave Ryan as he's joined by County Executive Nick Pirro. Dave.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Here's Nick Pirro, and tell us about the excitement as we hear the fans through their final ever 7th inning stretch here at Big Mac. Just an incredible moment for you.
It's great. What a beautiful day for the last game, and everybody's singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." And right over there, we see our new stadium coming up, and just a wonderful last day here at Macarthur.
I know we can't mention any corporate names just yet, Nick, but you are in the process of trying to decide who will eventually get their name on that ballpark.
Yes, we're making presentations to a number of companies, and hopefully we'll have interest, and by the time we open next year, we'll have a name for the stadium.
Now, you're here not just in official capacity as a fan as well, but after the game, we understand you're going to buy a couple of these old seats for a certain reason.
Right. Well, we've teamed up with the Kidney Foundation, and they're going to be selling some seats and other memorabilia from the stadium. And I'm going to be buying the first 2 seats, and I'm going to donate them to our Historical Association as an everlasting memory of Macarthur Stadium.
Speaking of memories, what's your top one? I mean, you've seen a lot of games here over the years.
I've seen so many games over the years. I have to say that And I remember the year now, but the year they won the overall championship, those are the things you remember because they took it all away. But it's been a lot of great seasons out here at Macarthur Stadium, and Syracuse baseball is so important. And I'm pleased that we're able to put together the new stadium and keep the Chiefs here, and so that the people can enjoy it. And I hope that next year the fans will really turn out.
Onondaga County Executive Nick Pirro, thanks for doing this very much. All right, back upstairs to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Dave. And Nick, Joe Hudson is on to pitch for the Pawtucket Red Sox here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Hudson 0-1 with the Paw Sox this season, a 3.62 ERA. Rich Rowland stands in. He is now playing first base for Syracuse as the Chiefs made some changes defensively. Terry McGriff now behind the plate. John Ramos has moved from first base to right field. There you see Hudson's numbers on the season. And we understand that last foul ball from Rich Rowland nailed the side of the production truck right outside Macarthur Stadium. So we've had just about everything on this last day ever at Big Mac, and the ball game is far from over. Now this is the inside of the truck. There's everybody. Frank Rafka. Mark Ballard calling the shots downstairs today. As always, doing a masterful job. Joe Hudson missing inside, and the count is now 3 balls, 2 strikes. We want to thank Syracuse Chiefs Assistant General Manager John Simone for stopping upstairs and spending a few minutes with us. I imagine he's heading downstairs for some crowd control because you may not know what's going to happen when this ball game ends. Rowland bounces a ball off the plate, and it's a relatively easy play for the catcher Hatterberg to make, throwing down to first base to get Rowland for out number 1 in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, that best recollection of Nicky Pirro about the team that won it all, he had to be referring to the 1970 Chiefs, and that certainly was the best Chiefs team that I covered in 20-odd years. Although probably the club, one of the clubs that I enjoyed the most was Steve Grilly's club in '79, which I called overachievers, and Steve and the guys on the club didn't like that term because they thought I demeaned their talent, but in fact it was the highest form of praise.
Well, we appreciate it. There were some good players. Willie Upshaw was on that team.
Absolutely.
Ernie Witt, Dave Steeb. Trying to think of who else.
And Ernie Witt was a guy who Toronto, I remember Bobby Maddock didn't think Ernie Witt could throw out any runners, and he threw out everybody that year and went on to throw out a lot of guys.
Went on to hit 130 home runs for the Toronto Blue Jays, more home runs than any other catcher.
Isn't that incredible?
With all the guys, we talk about the greatest team, the greatest. Who was probably the funniest character that you've come across in all the years? Somebody that was just really entertaining and fun to be around.
There's a can of corn to right field. Well, the craziest guy was probably Danny Walton, and I can't tell you the best Danny Walton story because let's just say we'll just say that we'll just say he was outside, and it was just Hank Bauer, myself, and Isaac Walton, the three of us. We called him Isaac, and Danny Walton. And let's just say that at the end of this story, Danny's pants weren't on anymore. And some guy who was staring out of the window at Munch Kreitzer was rather aghast. And so was Hank.
Well, you know, one of the stories I heard about him, a famous place that everybody used to go to after the game was Tom's Clam Cove.
Right.
And somebody told me, and I wasn't here, but somebody told me that he actually joined the lobsters in the lobster tank.
He joined a lot of things in a lot of tanks. Danny was crazy, and of course, he hit a home run over what was then the Green Monster in center, and he did it left-handed. And so forevermore, he was going to be a left-handed hitter, and the Yankees didn't want it that way. But Isaac was convinced that because he hit a home run one way over the Green Monster, that he could hit that way. And of course, it didn't pan out.
Well, wasn't he on the cover of Sporting News?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he hit it. You know, Danny had a lot of power. But
you wonder what these guys are doing now. That's
I know. Well, I used to keep track of them in the old days when I was a beat writer, and at the end of the year, I would say where they were going and what they were going to do. Like Satch Sanders, who was a who was a Dr. Strangeglove at first base. I said he was working in a, he's going to be working in a factory in Chicago dropping boxes. Which I'm sure he did, because this guy couldn't catch the ball if you handed it to him. Satch Sanders.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's a good story right there.
Felipe Crespo is the hitter with 2 out in the bottom of the 7th inning. Chiefs lead the Paw Sox 4-3. Last game ever at Macarthur Stadium. Bouncing ball to second base. Selby up with it and throw over to first for out number 3 in the bottom of the 7th. Bob Snyder, a treat from the Syracuse Herald-Journal.
Guys,
thanks for coming by.
My pleasure.
Great to talk with you.
My neighbor. I'll see you around, buddy. See you around the neighborhood, as they say.
Thanks for joining us,
My
Bob.
pleasure. It's always great to hear the old stories from way back when. And as a special version of YMCA takes place down in the field, let's go down to Dave Ryan downstairs.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. You know, one thing several Chiefs fans are doing they're not supposed to is taking seats. We'll see how hard or difficult it is. Let's just check it out there and make a couple adjustments here. Make one down here. Hold that, sir. Will you hold that microphone? Okay, one there. Oh, there it comes. That's not so hard at all. You know, as it turns out, several people are doing it as well. Look at that. This guy right here has one. As a matter of fact, several other fans around are actually taking seats.
And wait a second, Steve. Is that really the guy from the Village People?
I'll tell you, good impersonations of him. We got them all outfitted like the Village People.
I know how you can tell. If he has a flashlight hanging from his belt, it's definitely him.
There's old Scooch.
Scooch. Now, who would that be? That wouldn't be the Saltine Warrior, would it? And here we go. One of the police officers from the Syracuse Police Department, one of Syracuse's finest, getting set for crowd control after the ball game. He's got to be loose and limber. And local motorcycle gangs have been called in for extra security as well. It's a party here at Macarthur Stadium, no question about it. Last crack at Big Mac. Even Scooch can do the YMCA dance. And I'm very happy about this, Steve. I haven't heard the Macarena yet. Thank goodness for that.
I think you might, though, before this game is over.
Oh, boy. We'll see what happens in the middle part of the 8th. There you see the brand new ballpark for the Chiefs in 1997 beyond the stands, back of third base, and it will be a beautiful facility. No doubt about it. And back inside the truck, yes! Frank and Mark. Frank Raft and Mark Ballard and the rest of the Adelphia crew downstairs calling the shots for Cable 13 today. And we are loose and limber and having fun here at Macarthur Stadium. And oh, by the way, we have a terrific baseball game underway as the Pawtucket Red Sox get set to bat in the top of the 8th inning. Jim Sykowski is on the mound. He has replaced Louis Andujar. And stepping in to hit for Pawtucket, Phil Clark, one of the top hitters in the International League. Today, he's 0 for 3, though, as Jim Sykowski offers his first pitch, a bit high for ball 1. Sykowski on the season, 6-3 with a 3.67 ERA, 88 1/3 innings on the mound, 70 strikeouts, 36 walks, and a save. And Winky, with the Matador treatment of that ground ball to third base, we'll see how they score it. And they have scored at a base hit, Steve. They've got to give this guy a break at some point today.
Well, we talked about his being in an unfamiliar position on third base. First time he's playing it this year. And Tommy Leo, the official score at today's game.
And Bill and Adam down in the truck, the graphics operators. And Bill, I did get you that T-shirt, by the way. So you do have that. Bill was all over me before the game when I held up the commemorative T-shirt for the last crack at Big Mac. He said, all right, you can use it for the Open, but I want it back. I've got to have it back. And I made sure he got it. So I'm off the hook. So Tommy Leo, the official score from the Syracuse Herald-Journal, gives Phil Clark a base hit. And he is standing at first base to lead off the top of the 8th inning against Sykowski and the Tribe. And down at first base, Phil Clark represents the tying run. It's 4-3. Chiefs on top. 4 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors for the Tribe. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors for Pawtucket. Alan Zinter at the plate, and he is ahead in the count. 2 balls, no strikes. Takes ball 3 inside, so Steve, Jim Sykowski in a little bit of trouble here to lead off the 8th.
Great game to this point, 4-3. We're going into the top of the 8th inning. Andujar with an excellently pitched ball game.
And Sykowski loses Zinter outside for ball 4. And there's Mark working the audio today.
Looks like he's steering the Starship right there. Turn left, Scotty.
I haven't got the power. Captain.
Hey, I'll tell you, everybody's just in such a good mood up here, and it's been a great game to broadcast. And hopefully next year for the opening of Big Mac, it'd be nice to see us doing that game too.
That would be a lot of fun, to be sure. Line drive to deep left field. Cradle has to back up. He'll have to play it off the wall on a bounce. One run is coming in to score, and wheeling into second base with a stand-up double is Jose Malave. So Clark scores the tying run to make it 4-4. Zinter is in at third, and Malave is in at second with a stand-up double, and that ball was a shot.
A rocket fastball that tailed right back into the power zone. Ball played very nicely off the left field wall. But the Chiefs got a lot of problems here. Second and third and nobody out in a tie ball game.
That brings Dana Levangie to the plate. He will hit for Scott Hatterberg. Levangie, a catcher, just called up from Double-A Trenton. Levangie at .250 on the season. The pitch from Sykowski misses a bit high. 2 balls, no strikes, and activity in the Chiefs bullpen down the right field line as left-hander Brian Bohannon is up and throwing.
Might see somebody make a quick trip to the mound here shortly just to kind of waste time, let Bohannon get ready.
Levangie fouls it back our way, and there you can see Brian Bohannon warming up in the distance. Still a great crowd on hand here at Macarthur Stadium for the last game ever at Big Mac. The ball game far from over. It's a 4-4 tie in the top of the 8th inning. Nobody out. Runners at second and third for Pawtucket. The 2-1 to Levangie. Sykowski misses. Low and outside, and it's 3 balls, 1 strike. Levangie 1 for 4 on the season since joining Pawtucket. This is a big spot for him. He's ahead in the count, 3 balls, 1 strike. Sykowski taking his time on the mound as he works from the stretch. Levangie fouls it off. Back of first base, and the count is full, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Aaron Fuller is on deck after Levangie hits. The 3-2 pitch popped up into right field. Ramos settles under it. The tag, and here comes the runner from third, and it's cut off by Rich Rowland. He cuts the throw from Ramos in right field. Alan Zinter scores the go-ahead run, and it's 5-4 Pawtucket here with 1 out in the top of the 8th inning. Sacrifice fly for Dana Levangie, his first RBI of the season.
Well, Chiefs would like to keep it close right here with 1 out. He's going to pitch Fuller very carefully. Got a right-hander up next. Might want to see if he can just pitch carefully to Fuller here and induce the double play so he can get out of the inning.
Aaron Fuller grounded to first base his last time up. Fuller also just up from Double-A Trenton. The Trenton Thunder, the Double-A affiliate for the Boston Red Sox. Jim Sykowski working from the stretch. Base hit to right field. Malave rounds third. Here comes the throw from right field, and he is going to be a dead duck at the plate. Nice throw by John Ramos out in right field to get Malave at the plate as Fuller heads into second base. Terry McGriff applying the tag at home plate.
Malave right there, as he came around third, stopped and then started again. I think that was the difference with him having any chance of being safe at home plate. Ramos with a good strong throw on 1 hop and in plenty of time because, like I said, Malave had stopped.
That's one of the skills they tell you about when you play the outfield, is if you're going to bounce the ball in, make it a hop that the catcher can certainly control so he can get off a good tag. And that's what Ramos did with that strong throw from right field. McGriff applied the tag to Malave, who didn't even slide. He knew he was a dead duck at the plate. So with 2 out, Lou Merloni comes to the plate. Runner on second base is Aaron Fuller. And Sykowski fires ball 2 as he misses. 2 balls, no strikes. Sykowski's had a rough inning here in the top of the 8th, allowing 2 runs, and he's responsible for the runner at second base as well. Sykowski with a strike in there as the breaking ball drops in. Make the count 2-1. Bohannon still loosening in the Syracuse bullpen. Merloni fouls it right side behind first base. And it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Merloni fouls it off again, this time into the Pawtucket dugout. And there's a souvenir for a lucky fan sitting in the first row behind the Paw Sox dugout. Count is actually 1 ball, 2 strikes to Lou Merloni. Pawtucket has a 5-4 lead over the Chiefs here in the top of the 8th inning. Merloni checks his swing. They go down to the infield umpire, who punches him out. C.B. Buckner working the infield makes the call as Merloni went around for strike 3, but not before Pawtucket scores 2 runs in the top of the 8th inning to take a 5-4 lead.
Here you see a breaking ball. Looked like he did cross the plate. The bat did come across the plane of the plate, and he is called out on strikes.
Today's attendance, 10,262. One of the guys in the ballpark, Dave Ryan, downstairs.
All right, Ted, thanks a lot. You know, we talked just about everyone. Vendors, politicians, dignitaries, Blue Jays officials, fans. We haven't talked to any Chiefs players yet. Joined by Travis Baptist, Chiefs pitcher. Been here a couple years now, Travis. You've seen a lot of the old ballpark. What's it like today, seeing it just go down after all these years?
Well, you know, we're excited about the new ballpark over there, but today is a sad day. You know, you talk to the fans, all the people, you know, I know the season ticket holders, and it's a sad day for them, and I feel for what they're going through to see kind of a part of their family go away today.
You've had some pretty good moments yourself here over the last couple of years. What's a highlight and something you'll take with you in memories over the season?
I'd have to say 94 playoffs when we played Pawtucket at home. The crowd was great, and, you know, it brought us alive, and we really took charge of that. So I'd say, you know, the playoff series 94.
I know the Blue Jays really want to make sure the facilities are up to date, and like Skydome, the new stadium, I'm sure you guys haven't got a good chance to look at it yet, but it's going to be beautiful according to all the people who are going to build that. Are you looking forward to playing it? I mean, I know you'd rather be in the big leagues, but if you are here next season, it's going to be something to play in.
Oh, definitely. The facility is going to be a lot improved next year. And I got over this new stadium, and they got indoor mounds, indoor hitting cages, and if you're going to be in AAA, you might as well, you know, it'll be a lot better than being a Big Mac.
All right, Travis, thanks for joining us, man. Good luck.
Yep,
okay, it was Travis Baptist, Chiefs pitcher. Guys, back up to you in the press box.
Thanks a lot, Dave, and Travis Baptist. Dave has been doing a great job all day, working his way through the stands and down on the field and talking to vendors and really giving us a slice of what's happening downstairs on this last crack at Macarthur Stadium. There you see the crowd, still thousands of fans here as the Chiefs are going to try to come back late in this ball game. Pawtucket has a new pitcher on the mound. He is Chuck Ritchie, 8-4 on the season, a 3.09 ERA, 79 strikeouts and 78 2/3 innings of work, 12 saves on the season. So, Steve, he is a very solid pitcher for the Paw Sox.
He's been a closer for them, and he's done a fine job, and he's got a task at hand here is holding the Chiefs for the last 6 outs of the game to preserve this victory for Pawtucket.
Joe Hudson stands to win it, barring a Syracuse comeback, and that ball is taken off the shoe tops in right field by Malave, a shot off the bat of Felix Jose to lead off the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, I got a few seconds here. I just want to pass along. We had a lot of people here that were at Macarthur Stadium for the first game. A good friend of mine and the families and the Simones I know, Mr. Carapella, John Carapella's father's at home. Just had a serious knee operation, wasn't able to make it, and he really was down about it. And I'm glad he got to see it on the air tonight. I know he's watching, and hopefully he'll be ready to see the opening of the new Macarthur Stadium.
Definitely. So we wish him all the best as he makes his recovery. And it's great that so many of you have decided to join us on this Labor Day afternoon to take in the last game ever at Macarthur Stadium. Ground ball to third. And the play made over to first base by Lou Merloni as Ramos grounds out for out number 2 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. So the Chiefs are 4 outs away from losing the last game ever at Big Mac, but still some time for them to make a comeback. Chris Winkie steps to the plate, 0 for 3 on the afternoon. Coming into today's ball game, Winkie struggling at the plate since rejoining Syracuse. His average hovering around the 190 mark, and we've seen better days out of him previously, Steve.
Well, he's a proven double-A hitter so far. He's just got to turn it up a notch. I have a lot of confidence in him. I think he's going to be a fine player. He's got a great swing, great home run swing, and I think in all the times I've seen him, I've made mention before, he has trouble with the outside part of the plate, and I think he's got to make an adjustment. He stands way away from the plate, as you can see with this shot, and they like to pitch him away, and he can't hit that pitch.
And once again, Richie does exactly that off the plate. He has that wide stance as well. So ideally for him, he would want to step into the ball and try to drive it.
Absolutely, and he's going down the instructional league, and I think you're going to see some adjustments from him when he comes back. And he doesn't hit that pitch right there. That's another great shot. But you put the ball on the inside part of the plate, that is his power. But you don't give in to him when you're going to get ahead like you just did.
The 3-1 to Winkie. He golfs that shot into short left field, and the play is made out there by Aaron Fuller, who grabs it for out number 3 in the bottom of the 8th. So the Chiefs go quietly here in the 8th inning. 1-2-3, and we'll come back with the top of the 9th from Macarthur Stadium after this timeout. Paw Sox up 5-4.
Welcome back to Big Mac Hagen to the top of the 9th inning. Chiefs are down at Pawtucket. We're joined by Brian Honeyegger. He's one of the groundskeepers here at Big Mac, and I guess your job, Brian, next year is going to change a great amount because we're going from grass to artificial surface.
Yes, it is. I'll be more in a supervisory capacity than actual hands-on field, work as far as that's concerned.
Are you going to miss the old ball yard? I know in the spring it was murder trying to get this thing drained when all the snow, of course, was trying to melt off, and there are some problems with it, but obviously it has a lot of character. I'm sure some great memories too.
Yes, I will miss it a lot. I do have a degree in horticulture, so it is my main concentration. But I'm looking forward to the new year and the new season, and there'll be quite interesting moments there.
Very quickly, got a top memory for us from Big Mac in your time here?
I would say this spring we had about 3,000. Only 3 people showed up to clean it, and we were here for quite a while.
Not going to miss all that, I'll bet.
No.
All right, Brian, thanks for joining us very much. Brian Honeyegger, one of the groundskeepers here at Big Mac. Guys, let's go back to you inside the press box.
Thanks a lot, Dave. And things will certainly be different in the new ballpark next season with that artificial surface. Try to play a few more days in the spring with all the snow melting. Brian Bohannon now on the mound for the Chiefs, 4-3 on the season. And he gets Alex Cole swinging. So Cole strikes out after earlier in the ball game walking, singling, and belting a triple. He's also played a terrific ball game in center field, running down a lot of balls hit by the Chiefs. There we see the lefty Bohannon, former Major League veteran pitcher.
He's got a little Fernando Valenzuela in him, I think, there.
Starting to look like it a bit. That's from all those post-game meals at the change of pace. Right, Steve?
That's right. And we're expecting, I tell you, it's going to be a big bash there after the game. There's a lot of people coming down. Celebrate the closing of Big Mac.
Swing and a miss by Tony Rodriguez. Bohannon, a 3.92 ERA on the season, has pitched well after a shaky start with the Chiefs. Another player who joined the team midway through the season. The 0-2 to Rodriguez. Foul ball, straight back behind first base.
It's a little bit too much of a good pitch on an 0-2 count. The old saying in baseball is for a pitcher, you get ahead with strikes and you get them out with balls. And On Cole, he threw one 0-2 in the dirt, and he got him swinging. And right here, you want to see if you can throw a good breaking ball or a good fastball out of the strike zone.
Rodriguez gets him with that high fastball. A lot of hitters like to swing at that pitch, but it's upon you so quickly, it's hard to get the bat all the way around, and Rodriguez strikes out swinging for out number 2.
Rowan had the mitt set up low and inside. Bohannon decided he wanted to throw the high, hard one, and he blew it right by Rodriguez.
That brings Bill Selby to the plate. And he takes a strike from Bohannon, who's also throwing the ball hard today. Selby 2 for 3 on the afternoon. A home run in the first inning, single and an RBI. Bohannon misses, it's 1-1. Selby's home run in the first, a solo shot deep to right field. The 1-1 to him, he fouls it straight back. And Bohannon is 1 strike away from striking out the side here in the top of the 9th. Can a performance like this in the top of the 9th inspire a team in the bottom of the 9th? If the guy who pitches the top of the 9th pitches well, does that get the team fired up?
Yes, it does, and I think the crowd's starting to get into it. If he gets a strikeout here, he can go into the bottom of the 9th with a lot of momentum your way as he fouls one down the left field line. But yes, you're absolutely right there, Ted. I think the momentum can switch. You struck out the leadoff hitter. You get a hitter like Selby right here with a strikeout, and it'll get the crowd going. The young fella going home with looks like a jester hat he had on there.
He came dressed for the occasion. He's no fool. He's got a souvenir from Macarthur Stadium. The last crack at Big Mac. Selby down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bohannon. Lefty against lefty. The pitch, line drive to right field, hooking foul. Selby gave that ball a ride, well out of the yard, but way foul.
Bohannon trying to come in with a breaking ball on the inside part of the plate. Most left-handers like that low and inside pitch. And Selby right there turned that around like you said, Ted.
Selby has some good pop in his bat. Once again, the 1-2 from Brian Bohannon. Terry McGriff setting up outside. And he does fire away from Selby. Wastes a pitch outside the strike zone, low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
A lot of pitchers become too careful after they give up a long home run foul.
Foul tip to the mid of Terry McGriff, and he strikes out the side. Selby goes down swinging. 3 strikeouts in a row for Brian Bohannon. And as you said, Steve, that gets the crowd fired up.
As we hear the theme from Rocky playing in the background, that'll help pump these guys up too. Be real nice to see a little exclamation point here at Macarthur Stadium. Last inning.
So let's see what happens in the bottom of the 9th. The Chiefs coming to bat, down by 1. You know, we've talked about the last crack at Big Mac all day, and this is it. We're heading toward the bottom of the 9th inning. The Chiefs are down by 1 run. For Pawtucket, 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors. Syracuse, 4 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors. And as you can see, here at Macarthur Stadium is still a very large crowd here at Macarthur Stadium, getting set to watch the Chiefs hit in the bottom of the 9th inning. And with the Rocky theme playing in the background, the fans are starting to get into it. We could see a standing ovation to lead off the bottom of the 9th inning here to get the Chiefs fired up to win this last game ever at Macarthur Stadium. Chuck Ricci is getting set to start his 2nd inning of relief for Pawtucket as Miguel Cairo steps in.
This is great, Ted. Everybody's on their feet. They're trying to pump each other up. Fans are looking at fans. Coaches in the field. First base coach looking in the stand, getting people pumped up here.
This is great. This will be another Big Mac memory. And still some sand in the hourglass for the Chiefs here in the 1996 season. Cairo takes strike 1 on the outside corner to even the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Ricci worked a 1-2-3 8th. It'll be Cairo, cradle, and rolling here in the bottom of the 9th for the Chiefs. Bouncing ball to third. Maloney is up with it, and he throws across the diamond for out number 1.
Well, Ricci can get the crowd going with the sounds of that. Sometimes that's going to help the pitcher, too, out there. He knows what he's up against. It can get the adrenaline going on an opposing pitcher, too, as he puts Cairo away with a good slider on the outside corner.
That brings Ricky Cradle to the plate. 1 for 3 on the day with a single. Cradle at 194 for the season, 8 home runs since joining the Chiefs from AA Knoxville. But he hit 3 of those home runs last night. And with the crowd chanting, "Let's go Chiefs," Cradle is ahead in the count, 1 ball, no strikes. Cradle takes strike 1 from Richie. The outfield is playing straight away. They're not playing Cradle especially deep in left and center field.
Well, I think Cradle's going to be looking for one that he can send.
Takes strike 2, and that was a good pitch to hit, Steve.
There's a breaking ball up in the strike zone, and like you said, when it's up in that strike zone, it's a good pitch to hit. I think Cradle was looking for something more like a fastball. That looks like he was fooled on the fact he threw him a slider.
The 1-2 to Ricky Cradle from Richie. Kicks and fires, and he wastes one outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cradle standing in the box after his 3 home run performance last night. Richie with 12 saves on the season, trying to nail this one down for Joe Hudson. The 2-2. Cradle laces a base hit to left field. It's going to roll to the wall. He rounds first, has his sights set on a double. Ricky Cradle standing at second base with a 1-out double in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Well, you couldn't ask for a more perfect ending right here. Man on second, 1 run away from tying this ball game up. I think the crowd is getting quite a show here. Nice swing, a slider that he got in the middle of the strike zone, and Cradle turned on it. Hit it really hard. Had he got it up in the air a little bit, this game could have been tied.
Nice swing by Ricky Cradle, and a great job by the young outfielder to respond to the pressure as he lines a 1-out double to the wall in left field. That brings Rich Rowland to the plate. Rowland tripled back in the 3rd inning. And Rowland skies one foul into the stands behind third base.
Well, you talk about storybook endings. 8 home runs on the year for Rowland. Number 9 would be awful sweet and send a lot of people home happy.
It would be amazing. Rowland, a former catcher for the Pawtucket Red Sox, hit his share of home runs for the Paw Sox at McCoy Stadium and also played with the Boston Red Sox briefly. The 0-1 pitch. Rowland takes strike 2 down the middle.
That was an excellent pitcher's pitch. Low and outside, just catching the corner. Richie does not want to make a mistake. Rowland is looking one to jack right here. You could just see the way he's approaching this at bat. He wants it against his former teammates. Man on second. He's looking for the long ball.
Cradle, the tying run, standing down at second base, and timeout is called at home plate. Rowland with 8 home runs on the season, as Steve mentioned, 45 runs batted in, a .226 batting average, but he does have some pop in his bat. The 0-2 pitch from Richie. Outside, and a nice stop made behind the plate by Levangie to keep that one in front of him. Ricky Cradle has to remain down at second base.
Was a nice stop, and it was a backhanded stop. Normally, catcher tries to get his body in front, but he couldn't. Didn't have enough time. Made a nice backhanded stab on that one.
1-2 pitch to Rich Rowland. Cradle leading off second base. Outside again. The count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes, and once again, Levangie has to leap out of the catcher's box to keep that ball in front of him.
Richie pressing just a little bit. He knows he's got 2 strikes, does not want to make a mistake. He's trying to keep the ball away from Rowland because, like I said, Rowland's looking for something from the inside part of the plate, from the middle of the plate to the inside part of the plate. That's the pitch he can hit for a home run.
Perhaps an omen as a blue balloon bounces across the infield, and one of the Syracuse Chiefs bat boys has to retrieve it between home plate and first base. There you see it. The infamous blue balloon. This could go down in history as the blue balloon game if the Chiefs come back to win it. The 2-2 to Rowland. And he takes it for ball 3. And I'll tell you what, that pitch is about as close as it gets from being a called strike 3.
Well, here it is again on the replay. Breaking ball outside. Good call by the home plate umpire. But it's a tough pitch to take when you got 2 strikes on you.
Certainly is. Rich Rowland will have to protect the plate here. The 3-2 pitch. Outside, ball 4. The Chiefs have runners at first and second with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. Here in the last game ever at Macarthur Stadium, and the fans are loving every moment of this drama here in the bottom of the 9th. Rowland was down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes, and he coaxes a walk from Richie. John Cumberland, the Pawtucket Red Sox pitching coach, is out on the mound to talk things over with Richie.
Well, at this at-bat, we saw 3 of them in the dirt right there. And he seemed like that's where he just wanted to keep the ball. He didn't want Rowland to get anything good to hit. And I think he was trying a little bit too hard. That's what you call pressing it right there, because you're not even close. So Richie's got his work cut out for him, first and second, and Shannon Stewart is the batter.
Top of the Syracuse Chiefs batting order as Cumberland heads back to the Pawtucket dugout. This is Richie's game here. No activity in the Pawtucket bullpen. Runners at first and second. Rowland at first, Cradle at second. 1 man out, bottom of the 9th inning. Stewart stands in, and he takes ball 1.
Would be nice right here is a gap shot. Maybe we can see Rowland try to score from first with the winning run. It would be a real exciting closure to this stadium right here.
Fans on their feet here at Macarthur Stadium chanting, "Let's go Chiefs," bottom of the 9th. The 1-0 pitch to Stewart. High and tight for ball 2. So Chuck Richie has lost his control here in the bottom of the 9th inning. He walks Rowland after getting ahead in the count, no balls, 2 strikes, and quickly he falls behind Stewart. Actually, they called that pitch a strike, didn't they?
I think if he just got a piece of it off of his bat, so the count goes to 1-1. Larry Heisel calls Stewart one of the best hitting prospects in the Blue Jays organization.
Big swing and a miss by Shannon Stewart. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That second pitch high and tight from Richie. I thought it was ball 2, but the ball tipped off Stewart's bat for a foul at the plate. And now it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Chiefs center fielder, Shannon Stewart. Runners at first and second, 1 out, bottom of the 9th. And as you can see, the Chiefs are down by 1 run. Stewart taking ball 2, low and away.
Stewart's job right here now is just to try to get a piece, put the ball in play, try to make something happen. Can't go for the big jack, can't go for the big swing, got to be protective. Richie's job right now, he's just trying to keep that outside corner worn out. He's been throwing a lot of sliders.
The 2-2 from Richie to Shannon Stewart. Shannon pops it up to deep right field. Backing up is Malave. He makes the catch. The tag is made by Cradle at second base, and he is down to third with the tying run with 2 men out. So Stewart flies to right field, sending Cradle to third base while Rowland remains at first.
That was a big move right there, because with the 3 sliders that we've seen in the dirt and the way Richie's been pitching, he's trying to keep the ball away. A ball in the dirt now, and the Chiefs bring home the tie-in run. Cradle only 90 feet away from tying this one up.
Ironically, Terry McGriff at the plate for the Chiefs. He hasn't really played much this season for Syracuse. Actually, the last Syracuse position player to get into a game this season. McGriff hitting 190 on the campaign. A home run and 6 runs batted in. He's a Major League veteran. He has bounced around the big leagues. He takes ball 1 from Richie. Terry McGriff walked in his only plate appearance of the day back in the 7th inning. Entered the game as a defensive replacement. The 1-0 pitch to Terry McGriff. Takes strike 1 down the middle. And a lot of the fans here at Big Mac, Steve, don't like that call by home plate umpire Lazaro Diaz.
Well, it was a low pitch, whether across the strike zone, across the knees. Crowd doesn't think so.
Syracuse has the tying run 90 feet away at third base in the person of Ricky Cradle. The 1-1 pitch from Richie to Terry McGriff. He misses outside, 2-1. This is Richie's game At this point, no activity in the Pawtucket bullpen, and the fans are on their feet at Macarthur Stadium. McGriff ahead in the count, 2 balls, 1 strike. 2 men out, bottom of the 9th. McGriff swings and tips it into the catcher's mitt of Levangie. And it's 2 balls, 2 strikes now. So the Chiefs are down to their last strike here at Big Mac.
Pitch way out of the strike zone. McGriff swinging at a bad pitch. Put himself in a hole now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I would be surprised to see Richie with another breaking ball. This one might even be in the dirt.
The 2-2 to McGriff. Outside. Full count. Nice stop by Levangie. So the last game ever at Macarthur Stadium has come down to 1 pitch. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. The Chiefs have the tying run at third base. The 3-2 pitch to Terry McGriff. Richie working from the stretch. Here he comes. Ground ball to short. The throw over to first for out number 3. And the Chiefs fall short here in the bottom of the 9th inning as Rodriguez scoops up the ground ball off the bat of McGriff and fires over to Zinter at first base. And it's all over. The last game ever at Macarthur Stadium comes to an end as Pawtucket wins it 5-4 over the Syracuse Chiefs. And this ballpark that holds so many memories for thousands of people in Central New York will officially close after a post-game ceremony. The last game ever at Macarthur Stadium has come to an end. Let's rejoin Dave Ryan.
All right, Ted, thanks a lot. You know, incredible memories without question. Over 4,400 games have been played on the AAA level at Old Big Mac. And as we see the brand new stadium over my right shoulder, construction is in the works. Sometime in January 1997, that ballpark will be ready. About 10,000 fans should pack in on a regular basis to watch the Chiefs in their brand new yard. But as we say goodbye to Old Big Mac, a stadium that came about, of course, in 1934, all the great, incredible names have come through and played here. Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, Reggie Jackson, Thurman Munson, and in the more recent years, Fred McGriff and Carlos Delgado. Alex Gonzalez now star with the Toronto Blue Jays. After all these years, some great memories, certainly. Ted, what I'll have certainly to look back upon in years to come will be 1994, when the Chiefs made that incredible run to the Governor's Cup before losing eventually to the Richmond Braves with some pretty good players on that team as well. Certainly, though, some just incredible memories of years and years of great baseball here at Big Mac coming to a close today. And too bad Terry McGriff couldn't get a hold of one and maybe make a base hit to give the Chiefs a win today. But certainly, no question, we'll look back upon Big Mac after all the great years of baseball with some very fond memories. Guys, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Very well said, and an emotional afternoon for all of us here at Macarthur Stadium. Terry McGriff tried to come through in the bottom of the 9th, fell just a little bit shy, and with Macarthur Stadium closing one final time today, Steve, you kind of think about it a bit, and maybe the years went by just a little bit too quickly. Now that Big Mac is going to close for business officially and be torn down later on this month.
You just gave me the chills because a lot goes through your mind. It is the last time here. I've had some great memories down here. Had some wonderful memories up here working with you, Dan Horde, working with Mike Tirico, Sean McDonough. I've had a great time at this ballpark. It's been like a second home to me. And but I'm like, it's been put by so many people today. You look over there, and there's a lot more good memories ahead. And all I got to say is it's been a wonderful experience for me, and I've been very, very thankful that I've been part of this ball club.
And I'm sure we'll see you next season at the brand new stadium, still unnamed, so you never know, it could be the new Macarthur Stadium for 1997 to try to keep the tradition alive. We hope you've enjoyed it from Macarthur Stadium today, the last crack at Big Mac. Unfortunately, the Chiefs come up just a little bit short, falling to the Pawtucket Red Sox 5-4. For Steve Grilly, Dave Ryan, everybody who stopped by and joined us up in the booth this afternoon, and the entire Adelphia production crew, Frank Rafka, Mark Ballard, and all the guys doing a tremendous job today. We've enjoyed it. We hope you have too. We'll see you next spring at that new edifice just beyond the wall. Brand new stadium for the Syracuse Chiefs in 1997. We'll see you later. Big Mac is closed.
I figure I've seen more than 700 since, and I wouldn't have missed a